you're in for a treat.
Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays.
2 West.
6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
We got new hours because we're nerdish.
And we're in our 20s despite our looks, so we gotta do things in the evening time over the summer.
Correct, but not too late because, as Levi said, we're in our mid-20s.
Not our early 20s.
And not our late 20s, the mid-20s.
So, yes, we're the Goldilocks of 20s.
That's right, I shouldn't have laughed. I gotta keep it cool, because this is our intro rap, where we keep things cool.
We're very cool, so cool we might want a dance break.
Hey, thanks for watching our dance break.
Now, back to the really serious stuff.
Like Brady.
And Levi.
And Brady, too. We're the 3 members of the Nerdish crew.
That was perfect. We didn't plan that.
Not at all. We don't plan anything. If you couldn't tell by this rap. That was the one thing we rhymed.
That was the one thing.
Which makes it a rap.
Yes. All raps have one rhyme.
We'll see you on 2 West.
Yes. 2 West.
7:30 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time.
Keep watching, because it'll turn into us, but probably not wearing the wigs.
Yes, and we'll be much more responsive to whatever you have to say.
You could ask us questions right now. We will not answer them.
Also, we take no responsibility for anything we've done in this pre-recorded session.
Yes. Any lost items, Nerdish is not responsible.
Right, we don't have anything to do with it. We're very different people in the present than we are from when we're recording this video. You might say we are the pupae of Nerdish right now, and in the future we will be the moths.
The
Because
disgusting gray moths.
Yes, those gray moths that you hear, they're like the bats of the flying community.
The wings are leathery. They're leathery wings.
Very leathery.
They're basically butterflies, but we hate them.
Yes.
They're the rodents of butterflies.
This is true.
Right?
Just like the ACT is the rodent of the SAT.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. Hey! Look who's here. It's you. Whoever you are, that's you. That's who you are. There was an SAT this Saturday, and a lot of people are fretting about it. I understand. It's a pretty important test on your way to college and on your way to future opportunities. Hey there, Levi, Brady, and chat. How goes things? Well, Slayer Darth, you might be the first person here. So chat... Oh, look at this. Prodvanix is here. Brady. I like that. Yes, that actually is sort of how my name is pronounced. Levi is going to be a little late. He got caught up in something. It's all good, though. Everyone's fine. But I already miss him. I will say that. I already miss him. Anyway, who is taking the SAT tomorrow? Sorry, Saturday. Prodvanix, are you taking the SAT? I bear something in mind that helps me with exams. I am. Oh, Prod. Sweet, sweet Prod. Are you worried about a particular section? Would you like us to go over, / would you like me to go over something particular? Let's see if we have any questions for the stream. Any questions for the stream? What do we got? What do we got? Chemist. Oh, we've already seen those. We've already seen those. Yeah, reading. Oh, you want to talk strategy, do you? That's a good idea. It's a good idea. Let me just, let's see. I feel like no matter what I do, I always miss some. Prodvanix, yes, that's going to happen. I take reading sections from time to time, and I will be honest, I've never gotten a perfect score on the reading. Whenever I take a section, I typically get extremely few wrong. However, I don't typically get a perfect score. Typically, I'll be honest, there's some very difficult questions on the reading section. So whenever you come across a question and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get this one wrong probably, and there goes my score, just shut up. You're going to be fine. You're going to get a couple questions wrong. Having dabbled with the SAT reading exercise on Khan Academy, yes. So you cannot let the fact that you're going to miss a couple get in the way of your confidence. because I feel like it helps to read outside the classroom in general. Yes, it does. Slayer Darth, yeah. That's not going to help in the 2 days leading up to the SAT, but if the better you are of a reader in general, just the more you read, then the easier this test is going to be, because your brain is just used to reading. And you're more in tune with like finding context clues and following along and things like that, and vocabulary. Anyway, Prodvanix, yeah, like I was saying before, if you get into a slump confidence-wise, it's going to make you miss even more. You have to be able to just get something wrong, pick yourself right back up, and then move to the next question with a fresh mind and a fresh slate of your emotional state. And that's easier said than done. It's very tricky. It's very easy to find yourself getting to a rut where you're freezing up and you're like, oh my gosh, like this isn't going as well as I thought. You got to get yourself out of that, no matter how you do it. Plenty of times we've had students that thought things were not going well and then got a score that is way better than what they thought. But yeah, what I bear in mind whenever I take exams is now, yeah, 40s of my life. Slayer Darth, that's absolutely true. That is absolutely true. How does that benefit you though? Do you feel as though if your score is not that great, it's because it reflects on the opportunities that you've had? Because that is a good context to put into things. Yeah, there is a pretty strong correlation between family income and SAT scores, which is kind of not great, that whole idea, if you think about it, because we're all about social mobility. Yes. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, I went to a low attainment school. Yes. Yep, that is a good thing to keep in mind. Yeah. And it's tough to be on the shorter end of the stick. Oh, I am yawning a lot. Getting the short stick it's very mature that you're able to reflect on that and let that, I don't know if the word would be like calm you down, but like it puts things into context, definitely. Yeah. I imagine things are still a little frustrating, but good attitude to take. Prodvanix, do you want to work through a section? Are there particular sections that you have trouble with? The historical passage one. Do you want to talk about strategy? For reading, I'm normally able to narrow it down to 2 answers, but I always choose wrong one. We'll stay away from wrong one. I would pick right Jose if I were you. It's dumb. Okay, the fact that you're able to narrow it down to 2 answers is very good. The fact that you always choose wrong is not true. If it's a 50-50 and you always choose wrong, there's no way statistically that that's going to happen. You're going to get some of them right. You just have to. I hate it whenever every summer the UK newspaper highlights the top performing students in the country when most of the students they highlight attended private schools at Nerds. Yeah, Slayer Darth, it is an unfortunate fact currently that while education should be the great equalizer, it is currently not. Yeah, in America, the public school system is tied to the local taxpayers, so that neighborhoods that have wealthier people that can contribute more in taxes will have better schools, which, you know, it is not good because it is those people that need the extra help the least. I mean, everyone should get the best possible education. So we don't want to, you know, take down their education, but kids that need it the most are from kids that are, you know, from low-income areas, and they're the ones that have schools that are not great. So it's like, it's further entrenching. That's why it's great, this service. Thank you, Slayer Darth. We think so as well. We're really trying to get more people watching it because it is a lot of time for us, and we want it to benefit more people. But that's the idea, Slayer Darth, so I appreciate you saying that. Where was I going with that? Yeah, you know, it's like the NBA. When there's a draft, there are high draft picks and low draft. Is there any way you can do a whole reading passage and just explain what you're thinking? Yeah, I can try that. I mean, I don't want to just like read the whole passage out loud. So if there's one in particular that like you'd like to read, and then like we'll go over the answers together, and I'll walk you through what I'm thinking. That would probably be the best way to do this, because, you know, just me reading a whole passage out loud in a funny voice is probably not the best thing to do on the stream. But let me find a passage. Let me pull it up. Prodvanix, have you done a lot of SATs that are online? Because I don't want to pull up one that you've already done. All right, I'll do one right now. Okay, which SAT is it from? Do you have a list of them you haven't done? Because let's make sure that we are doing the same one. So I think you got a good idea there. Anyway, the reason why I was bringing up the NBA is like, there are certain players that are going to be recruited by teams or drafted by teams that everyone knows are very good. So naturally, every team wants that. But they don't want the great teams to get even better. So what they do is they have the lower level teams get the first draft pick so that they can try to improve their teams to make sure that the process is somewhat equalizing. I don't know. Is that an official SAT study guide from College Board? Yeah. Where did you get it? Is it from their website? Is it from a book? I know it's a official one. Big book. Big book. Okay? Big book. Does it have a title? Does it say like SAT 3? I'm sure the book has a lot of tests in it. Is this a specific number in the book? Perhaps big book, a helping hand. A helping hand. A helping hand. Saidar, that's a great phrase. Like what? Test 5. Test 5. Okay. I'm going to assume that we have test 5 as well. Let me check that out. Here we go. We're going for test 5. Okay. My draft. No, we want to go to this. This might take a second, but I'll get it. Oh, jeez. Okay. Okay, I'm pulling this up. This is SAT 5. Curriculum materials, practice tests, SAT tests. Here we go. 5. All right, so you're saying passage where questions start at 32. I haven't done it yet, though. That's fine. I just want to make sure I have the right one before I put it up on the screen. So 32. Is this the wisdom of crowds has become a mantra? Why you shouldn't trust internet comments? Is that the that first sentence? Yeah, da. Excellent. Okay. You know what? I haven't actually read this, so this might be great because you'll see a vulnerable side of me that doesn't have complete control over the situation. Slayer Darth, the trouble with outreach at some of the more elite universities in the UK, which I presume affects some universities, is that they unfairly target feeder schools. Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. I mean, we have, there are certain boarding schools and private schools in the U.S. that are very high level that there are basically 3 students from this school taken every year to Harvard and 2 students from this school every year taken to Harvard. It is very much like that. It's I don't think it's yeah, Prodvanix. Go ahead and read that, then we'll talk about it. I don't think it is. I mean, it's comprised mostly of kids that are not private schools, but yeah, you do meet a fair number of kids that went to those kinds of schools. All right, I'm gonna read this right now, but keep saying stuff, and then I'll look up and start talking. But keep saying stuff, people. If you got questions, please let me know. Why you shouldn't trust internet comments? Okay. Yeah, now, again, it's slightly different from the NBA because what they're doing is the lower performing teams in the NBA get to pick the higher draft numbers. Like, I guess the lower draft. They get the better players. It would be something if the best teams in the NBA get their first pick at the best players, but it's the opposite of that because they want to avoid the situation where bad teams get worse and good teams get better. This kind of inequality that gets worse and worse. So the NBA is an example of a better system to equalize the sort of opportunity field or just the outcome of the teams. But yeah, colleges in general want those who meet their high standards, and people that go to better schools naturally meet higher standards in general. Agreed. Very good. Yes. Interesting. Slayer Dart, that's a great idea. Yeah, meritocracy is, it's the goal. It's what we say we have. We don't really. There's elements of it. Social mobility has been decreasing in the U.S. for a while, which people are not happy about. Yeah, this is a very good topic to write about. Slayer Darth, are you Are you applying to high school or I'm sorry, are you applying to college in the U.S. or are you applying to grad school in the U.S.? I forget if you're a high school student currently or a uni student. Or are you not at all? I forget. Undergrad. You're currently an undergrad applying for graduate school, or you are currently in high school applying to be an undergrad? So both of those options involve being an undergrad at some point. So what are ya? What's going on with you? Applying for undergrad from the UK. Very good. Okay. So you're a youngin'. That's excellent. I done read. I do questions now. All right, Podvanis, let's do them together. Do you wanna try them yourself and then we'll talk about them? Or do you want to just work through them together? Which I guess together would mean, yeah, I'll try to involve you in the process. I'll definitely be doing most of the talking though, because that is how this works. Because I'm up here and you're in there, wherever there is. Slayer, Darth, and Prodvanix. Those aren't... You gotta try yourself first. Okay. Yeah, you should. You should. Let's see if there are any questions in the Discord. Any questions in the Discord? No, that's not what I wanted. No. I want it over here. Not what I wanted. Questions for stream. Okay, yeah, still no questions for stream. Okay. Well, I can tell you guys something. A run-on sentence. I was supposed to do this earlier, but I removed it as I was able to resolve the question myself. Well, then I bid adieu to that potential question that we might have answered. Run-on sentence is two independent clauses together, not separated correctly. Not separated correctly. Such as, I'll give you an example. Okay. Here we go. I'm hungry. I want a sandwich. An independent clause has a subject and a verb, and it is a standalone idea. So, I'm hungry. I am. That's the subject and the verb. I am hungry is a complete sentence. I want a sandwich. I is the subject, want is the verb. The whole thing is a complete idea. So that is another independent clause, which is a fancy grammatical term for a complete sentence. So right here we have one, then the other, then a period, which is a run-on sentence. There's a couple different ways to separate these correctly. Right now there's nothing between them except for a space, and that's not okay. So we need to fix this. So there are ways to separate independent clauses. There are 4 of them. It's like a 4-pack. You don't have a 6-pack yet, but you got a 4-pack. That's kind of what this is. Kind of. First one's very simple. A period. A period ends a sentence and starts a new one. You've been dealing with them forever. This shouldn't be any news to you. The second one, and this is in no particular order, is a semicolon. On the ACT and SAT, a semicolon only does one thing. It separates 2 independent clauses. You know what else does that? A period. You know what's different about them? Nothing. Nothing. At least on a standardized test, there is no difference between them. They are the same answer. If you're writing your own thing, yeah, semicolons are kind of fancy. They're less of a pause than a period. But on the SAT and ACT, they are just the same exact thing. So if you see 2 answers where, hey, not koozie. Not koozie, you going to take the SAT this Saturday? If you are, you got any questions? Are you still not koozie? Seems like you're not going to take it. Or maybe you are. Thank you for stopping by. Semicolons can also be separated on the list. Slayer Darth, very true if you're not talking about the SAT and ACT. They never use them in that usage on the SAT and ACT. Okay? That is a cool usage for them. Yes, I am. I'm just practicing con right now. Ah, okay. Well, don't let us distract you, but if there are things you want to know from someone who's live and handsome, then just ask me, because I'm here. Anyway, yes, Slayer Darth, you're right. Outside of the worlds of US standardized tests. So if you see 2 answers where the only difference is one is a period and one is a semicolon, they must be wrong, because it would be unfair of the test to ask you to choose between them, because they're the same thing. So if they're wrong, then you must not have 2 independent clauses. If you see these are answer, if you ever see a semicolon as an answer, obviously it's either right or wrong, but what that means is you need to analyze your independent clauses. If you want to disprove it, if you want to figure out why it's wrong, you got to do that. If you want to figure out if it's right, you're going to have to do that. All right? It's not just enough to find the right answer. You want to be confident about it. You want to figure out why all the other answers are wrong. The further along you come in your test prep career, as a student, not as a tutor, I guess this works as a tutor as well, the better you'll get at eliminating wrong answers, which is a huge part of these tests. Okay, so those are equivalent to each other. Then we have the comma fanboys. Fanboys is an acronym for the coordinated conjunctions. What are they? They're for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. That is what they are. You need a comma and a fanboys together in that order if you want to separate two independent clauses. If all you put is a comma, that is still a run-on sentence. Specifically, that's called a comma splice. It's still a problem. If all you put is a fanboys, like the word and, I'm hungry and I want a sandwich, that sounds good. Yeah, because that's how you would say it. But if there's no comma there, it's wrong. You have to have a comma as well. So if you see a comma fanboys, that is what the comma fanboys should be doing. Okay? If an answer has something like this, comma but, the only way that that's used is between two independent clauses, because that is a comma fanboys. So not only does a comma fanboys separate two independent clauses, but that is the only thing it does. So if you see a comma fanboys, that is what it should be doing. With the small exception of the end of a list. So you could say eggs, cheese, and bacon. This is a comma fanboys. Slater Darth, that's very true. This is a comma fanboys right here, technically. It's the end of the list. This is the Oxford comma. So you might see this, you might see comma or, but those are the only two exceptions I know. ID modna, I'm done. Is ID modna Latin for I'm done, Prodvanix? I bet it is. So yes. Otherwise, though, if you see comma fanboys and it's not used in this context, it better be separated to independent clauses. If it's not, it's wrong. The last thing is a colon. We'll come back to that. We're going to do Prodvanix in just a sec. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Prodvanix, you're not bad at spelling, you're bad at typing. You're bad at something. Something's happening that gets you ID modna. I don't know. I don't think that's you're bad at spelling because modna is clearly not done. You had the, oh, I'm done. Okay, I get it. So the spacing was a little wrong. And yeah, all right, those are the fanboys right there. All right, let me pull up this test. Where is it? Okay. 1 second, Prodvanix. Okay. Wait, should I check the ones I got wrong first? I mean, for Vanix, it depends. Like, what exactly do you want me to do? I was just going to go through these and narrate what I'm thinking. I haven't actually done them yet. I've read the passage. That's all I've done. Huh. Yeah, we'd be interested. Definitely, we'll check that out. Okay, let's get this up. Sorry, this is taking a little bit. That is not doing anything. Oh my gosh, really? It's doing that again. Can I go back? Ugh, hold on. You guys are seeing all this stuff. This is not good. Turning that off for a sec. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, Prodvanix, go ahead and see, go ahead and check the ones you got wrong. That's a good idea. Slayer Darth, why Xantus for tutors, right? is for linking yourself up with tutors. Oh, okay. Well, free online resources is always fun. People like that in general. I like that. Ha! Ha! For Advanix, that's a good sign. You got a test on Saturday. You just got everything right. Slayer Darth, free online lessons, good. See, Slayer Darth, what I thought you were going to say is that they're a great way to connect with tutors. What I was going to say is, hey, you're looking at a tutor right here. Levi's also a tutor. We tutor. We do this as well. And as long as there's not many people watching us, you basically are getting us as tutors privately, which is nice deal. Nice deal. Prodvanix, you can't get them all right. You just can't do that. I need to go grab a bottle of water. 1 sec. Prodvanix, this is the best possible outcome. Don't you dare apologize. You've done excellent work. In fact, I was just testing you. This is what I expected to have happen the entire time. Because I wanted to show you that the confidence and the right answers were all in there. They were in there the whole time. Making up for lost time, Slayer Darth. Yeah. Right now it's 1-on-2, so we have 1 teacher and 2 students. I was actually in a class that was like that in college. It was a Chinese class. I was one of 2 students. So when she didn't show up, it was just me and the teacher. And she still somehow like tried to be a teacher during that one day, like, you know, up at the front of the classroom, talking to me like a teacher, but it's like, it's just you and me. I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, it's a nice little, you know, it's a lot more attention. There's something to be said there for that ratio. It's a nice little ratio. I guess I'm going to finish with this then. Good, we talked about semicolons. Colons is the last thing we have not yet talked about. Colons, language classes aren't really popular. Yeah? Well, why don't you tell a language class you said that? Sure, he or she / it will be kind of offended because they want to be popular. No, actually, it wasn't that. It was because there was a specific program. She and I were the only ones in the program that hadn't taken Chinese yet, and they were sending us to China that summer. Everyone else had taken it. So that's how we ended up in that program together, in that class. I want to say German school, we only had 3 students for senior year. What do most students take as a foreign language in the UK? French? Probably French. Maybe. You guys already know English. That's kind of a lot of people's second language. Probably French and German, I'm guessing. Maybe Chinese. German, French, or Spanish. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. You guys are pretty close to those countries anyway. Anyone taking Chinese? Language of the future. Everyone in the future is going to be speaking Chinese. God, that'd be crazy. That became the next English. It'd be so interesting. Because French used to be the world's language. Now that is English. Thanks to the economic clout of the United States. We do have students taking exams in their native language, like Polish, Russian, and Farsi. Huh? Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. A colon has one rule. Independent clause before the colon, whatever you want afterward. Colon does a bunch of different things, but the one rule that unites them all. Tindo! Hey! They have to arrange those exams themselves in later school. Ah, that makes sense. Welcome, Tindo! We've been talking about you nonstop. Nonstop. Okay? So if you see a colon, the way to check if it's right or wrong is look to the left. Is there an independent clause there? Great. If there's not, you can't use it. Okay, whatever you have on the right doesn't matter. Could be a full sentence, could be a single word. It doesn't matter. Tindo, you got any questions? Tindo, are you taking the SAT tomorrow? Is that your plan? Is that your brilliant, brilliant plan? If so, that's a good plan. You should do that. All right, I'm going to erase this. It's fun to do something. Woo. Who's got questions? Bum ba dum bum 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 bum. Quick review of dashes, please. Yeah, you know what? That sounds good. That sounds like a fun time. Okay, I will do that after I erase all of this. I need some more liquid. More liquid in the system. Very good. Okay. So, while I am erasing, I will say hyphens are shorter than dashes. Dashes and hyphens are not the same thing. Hyphens are used for one thing only, which is to create compound words. All right? Compound words, such as, oh, I don't know. What's a compound word? You say someone is, oh, geez. I know of one, but I don't want to use it for very strange reasons. This guy's a charming teacher. Me? What's your major, Brady? Oh, jeez. What's your sign, Tindo? That's what it sounds like. Double-barreled. Perfect. Double-barreled. Yes. A shotgun is double-barreled. Because you wouldn't use those adjectives separate. You wouldn't say this is a double shotgun. It's also a barreled shotgun. Double-barreled is its own compound word because it creates a new meaning when you put those together. So, Tindo, what was my major would be the question, because I am no longer in college, unfortunately. I miss those days. It was engineering, specifically a branch called product design. So it dealt with some engineering fundamentals, and then you did some design classes and a couple of art classes, which I really struggled in. Art is hard. That kind of stuff. Do all you Americans think about guns? It is quite the debate. It is quite the debate, and people get quite vocal about them. There's a lot of guns in this country. There are more guns than people in this country. It's 400 million guns, 300 million people. 317 million people, I think, is the most recent count. So like CAD. We do use CAD. Yeah, we do use some engineering software like that. I use SolidWorks pretty extensively. Oh, okay. So, Tindo. So that's hyphens. Dashes are used for a couple different things. One thing that you'll see dashes used for is interrupting elements. So I might say something like this. Levi, a huge goof. You know what? We're going to say goofball. Is currently absent. Ugh. All of this is true. Okay? A huge goof is currently in commas because it's a non-essential. And it is interrupting the flow of the sentence, so we call it an interrupting element. That's what that is. Okay? The way you can test if it's an interrupting element is if you take it out and the sentence is still okay. Levi is currently absent. That's the original independent clause. This is extra information about Levi, which is why we put it in commas. You can also use dashes to separate an interrupting element from the rest of the sentence. This is also acceptable. All right? 2 dashes, interrupting element in the middle. What you cannot do is start an interrupting element with a dash and end it with a comma. Or start with a comma, end it with a dash. You've got to be consistent. You've got to finish the pattern that they set up for you. Okay? That is one use of name and occupation. How do you know? How do you know when something is essential? Name and occupation. Great question, Tindo. So it can be confusing with name and occupation. It all comes down to the same thing. If you remove it, does the sentence still sound good? So if I said something like this. Business leader Sharon Jones is powerful. Good for her. Okay? Business, we have an occupation, we have a name. Would we consider her name a non-essential? Well, let's take it out and see. Business leader is powerful. No, that would not make sense. We'd either have to say the business leader is powerful or a business leader is powerful, but we don't have that. Therefore, we cannot take the name out. Therefore, it has to stay. Therefore, it is essential information, so we don't have any commas. Okay? That is an example right there. If I were to say something like this, well, this is probably going to be pretty obvious. The tennis coach, Johnny, is fun. That sounds weird because it is. Because Johnny is supposed to be a non-essential. The sentence is the tennis coach is fun. We're giving a little extra information on who the tennis coach is. It's Johnny. But we don't want... It's removable. The sentence is okay without it. Does that answer your question? Tindo, we're not done with dashes yet either. Okay? Dashes can also be used to separate non-essentials, just like commas, basically. So you can have, commas have 4 uses. You've got listing commas, you have comma fanboys, you have dependent clause, comma independent clause, and then you have separating non-essentials. Separating non-essentials is definitely the most confusing and mistaken aspect of what commas do, and you can use dashes for those as well. So a non-essential can go wherever you want in the sentence. Let me erase this stuff. I should do a better job of saving space on the board. So Tindo, how'd you do on that SAT 10? You do well on that? You grade yourself? There's also 2 different types of dashes. Yeah, there is the M dash and the N dash. They don't differentiate between, there's just the dash on the SAT and ACT. Yes. Yes, that's correct, Slayerdar. Forget about it, at least for the SAT. But you're in the UK, so you guys do all sorts of fun stuff over there. I did get it and got... That's a really good score, Tindo. I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit. What did you get wrong? What were your individual scores, and have you gone over all those questions and figured out what you got wrong and how you would be able to do them? Because that's the important thing. It's not just taking it. It's just obliterating all of your mistakes. You've got to obliterate them. Posted, oh, we got a question. We got a question. To shorten Tindo, posted Q. You can use dashes like commas. You can use dashes actually like a colon. Like, I finally got a good grade on my test. Colon. Sorry. Dash. A 97. Also works like that. All right, but I have a question. I'm very excited about this. Oh, thank gosh. Thank gosh. Here we go. Gonna crop it. There we go. There we go. Math. Yeah. So what you're saying is math is fine. It's the verbal part. How many liters of a 25% saline solution must be added to 3 liters of a 10% saline solution to obtain a 15% saline solution? All right, so these solution problems, there's always 2 equations you have to make, a system of equations. One of them is I'll call it the amount equation. So let's first define our variables. We have 25% and 10%. 1.5 is my guess. Hey, we'll see. Good guess. So let's use, what's a good variable for these? They both start with T, 25% and 10%. A and B, we're just gonna have A and B. So A is going to represent the 25% solution. And B is going to represent the 10% solution. So the first equation that we can make is just what we get, and we add the amounts of the solution. So these are in liters, basically. We don't know how much of... Oh, you know what? We know exactly how much of the 10% solution is. It's 3. Okay, all right, hold on. I guess, okay, B is equal to 3 in that case. So if you add some number of A liters plus 3 liters is equal to, this is the hard part. We don't know how many liters we're going to get in total. They don't tell us that. So really all we can say is that amount is going to get us A plus 3. Which in effect renders this formula useless. If we knew how many liters we're going to have in total, then we'd be done. If it was 15 liters, then we'd need 12 liters of A. Of course, it can't be that easy. What usually happens for these problems, and this is the other way to rearrange it, is like they say how many liters of this solution and this solution must be added to create 10 liters of this kind of solution. So it's A and B you're trying to solve for. And what I've realized now is that we only really have one variable, which is A, the amount of 25% solution. We don't know how much of the final what is it, 15% solution we're going to have. We just know it's going to be 3 more than whatever A is. So we have one equation, basically. Okay, so let's figure this out. You put the salinity in front of the variable because it basically gives you how much salt is in that solution. For instance, the 3 liters of 10% saline solution, 10% saline solution means that 10% of the solution is salt. That's what that means. 90% is water, 10% is salt. So if you wanted to find how much salt is actually in that, you would take 10% of 3 liters. 10% is salt of 3 liters of that solution, and that's going to get you 0.3 liters of salt. So this next equation is just going to be adding salt amounts together to create a new salt amount. That's what we're about to do. So we take the percentage of the volume, and that gives us the amount of salt. So 25% of A, or sorry, yeah, 25 times A plus 10% of 3 is equal to, here's where what I had before actually helps us. We're trying to get a 15% solution, and the total amount we're going to have is A plus 3. That's where that comes into play. We have A liters, 3 liters, and then A plus 3 liters in total. So let's just solve this. 0.25A plus 0.3 is equal to 0.15A plus 0.45. Yes. Yeah, 0.45. Okay. Pretty straightforward. We subtract this, we get 0.10A is equal to, we subtract that, we get 0.15. If you multiply both by 10, A is equal to 15. So it's going to be 15 liters. Think about that for a quick sec. If you put 15, 0.1 times 10. No, I'm sorry. I take this back. 0.10 is the same thing as 0.1. So we just have to multiply both sides by 10, which gets you 1.5. Tindo, you're right. 1.5 is correct here. Yeah. Kind of took a meandering approach that it took a little while, but that is what this is. Any questions, Tindo? Do you have any questions? I want to answer them if you have them. But it doesn't seem like you have any questions. More water. You guys want me to do like chicken stuff? We're making it fun. By we, I mean me, because Levi's not currently here. Oh, you got it now, Kuzi. That was your question. I forgot. Hey, Greenie. It's been a while. This is the Greenie chicken. Not Kuzi, third. Would you answer this party question? Would you answer this third question? Tindo, what's the third question? Is it on? Let me see. And there's still not any questions. Greenie, you taking the SAT tomorrow? Tell us about yourself. We're very interested. You seem like a very interesting individual. Oh yeah, we'd answer a third-party question. Yeah, of course. Roby. Greenie and Roby. Ah, it's a party. Everyone's showing up now. Even Sylvester's here. That's him saying hello. Sorry if that was loud. How'd you get here, man? Haha. Me? Or Roby? Ah. Okay, I'm going to put this away. Sorry. We got another question from Tindo. Very exciting. What we got here? We got an English question. Let's see. Ah, I see what you got there. All right. Let's pull this thing up. This is very exciting. We're all very excited. That's the question. Okay. Hopefully this is clear. It's a little pixelated. I will try my best. I'll make this bigger. All right, let's see what happens here. So number, it looks like 30. It's also important that companies handle their social media pitfalls gracefully when they do happen. One employee of the American Red Cross had accidentally sent out a good-natured but decidedly off-message tweet at a party using the official Red Cross account. The 130-year-old organization reacted with gentle humor rather than shame. The gaffe ended up encouraging many Twitter users to make fun of it. Okay. So the question, and 31 as well. Okay, we'll get there. Yes. Let's see the differences between the answers. We have a comma in B. Okay, let me think. Knit/Tindo, can you take a... It's a little unclear. Can you take another picture here that's a little clearer? I mean, you can zoom in and just focus on number 30 and just, the top of the page, because I'm having a little trouble knowing exactly where they're putting punctuation here. It's a little hard. Is that okay? I don't want to make you do too much work. I want to do the work for you. I don't want to have to make you do more work. But it is a little tricky. Hope that's okay. I'm not sure if they put a comma or a period on one of those. I don't want to speak too soon. Let's see. Ah, okay. Much better. Okay, here we go. This is looking so much better. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, it's looking decently better. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, it's like, okay, it's looking a little better. My time's kind of off still in the US. Do you stream frequently? Yeah, Greenie, we stream Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 6 to 7:30 East Coast time of the US. But tonight is a Cram session. We're streaming 2.5 hours if people want to keep asking us questions for that long. Anyway, here's the sentence again. When an employee of the American Red Cross accidentally sent out a good-natured but decidedly off message tweet at a party using the official Red Cross account, the 130-year-old organization reacted with gentle humor rather than shame. Here's what I'm seeing. A dependent clause followed by an independent clause. So that first thing, when they have the word when, why are you taking the SAT then? When, Greenie's just checking it out. He's just checking out this. He just likes to stream, that's all. When sets off a dependent clause. If you have a simple sentence like, I dance, sentence. When I dance, not a sentence anymore. Although I dance, not a sentence anymore. You're creating dependent clauses when you put that kind of word in front. So we have this dependent clause here that starts out, when an employee of the Red Cross accidentally sent out a good-natured but decided to have a message tweet at a party using the official Red Cross account. That right there is a dependent clause. Then we have a comma, and then we have the actual independent clause. The 130-year-old organization reacted with gentle humor rather than shame. That is the actual independent clause of the sentence. So the things we would not want to have, C. What C is doing is we're calling it a day at the end of the dependent clause. That is not a full sentence. It's difficult to see that because it's a very long clause. So if you get rid of some of the non-essential parts of it, just some of the adjectives and stuff, you'll hear that it's not a sentence. Let me get rid of some stuff. All right. When an employee sent out a good-natured tweet at a party, that is not the sentence. That is just giving us some context. That's a dependent clause. Okay. If you're not sure, get rid of non-essential things and read what's left, and your brain will be a little more adept at identifying what's going on, which is why we cannot have C. Okay. The other thing is, when you have a dependent clause followed by an independent clause, you separate them with a comma. That's one of 4 of the comma uses, I guess, is putting a comma between a dependent and independent. So D does not give us that comma, which is not good. And also D has a comma after old. 130-year-old is an adjective for the next word, which is organization. You never want to put a comma between an adjective and a noun that it's modifying. So that's wrong. Let's see what's different about B and A. Red Cross account. 130-year-old organization reacted. Okay. Knit. I'm not sure I'm seeing the difference between A and B. What am I missing here? No change. Did you put a comment yourself? What is the difference between those? There's nothing between account and the in A. Oh, I see. Okay. Yes, there needs to be a comma between those. That's the problem with that one. All right. Then in that case, we're going to do 31. So you also wanted 31. So, dependent clause, comma, independent clause. Okay. Oh, I'm going to have to go to that original picture, which hopefully we can see. Ah, it's a better one. Cool. Okay. All right, so this question says, at this point, the author is considering adding the following sentence. The Red Cross and Red Crescent movement exists in almost every country on Earth. Most of these national chapters have their own Twitter accounts. Okay. Okay. So should we keep that or should we delete it? Okay. So I always would say read each answer. You might like an answer very quickly and pick that. Not a good idea. Read all of them. There might be something you don't realize is going on, and once you identify it, you'll be like, how did I not see that? Do you have any tips and tricks? Do you? I mean, what, like for which section? I don't know. Hey, let me know what kind of tips and tricks you're looking for. I got a couple of them. They're up here. Right sleeve, not left sleeve, right sleeve. Okay, so what we're hearing here is that this guy at this party tweeted out something inappropriate, and the Red Cross organization responded with humor rather than shame. And then the next paragraph, given these high stakes, organizations increasingly acknowledge the need for real. Okay, so the fact that the Red Cross is in every country on Earth does not really give us any extra information that we need to know. It's extra information. It doesn't really help us because, okay, it relates to Twitter and the Red Cross. Well, if that was the only context you'd need, which is, A, then you could put so much stuff in there that relates to Twitter and the Red Cross. That's not what you want to do with a passage. You don't want to just have every piece of information that relates to something thrown in there. Otherwise, it's just going to be a crazy, messy list of facts about stuff. So it's not only it has to give you relevant information, it has to fit where they want you to put it, and it also has to flow well. Consistently, the logic needs to flow well. There has to be a reason for it to be in there. All right, the fact that each national chapter has their own Twitter accounts. Again, the Red Cross is a huge organization. We get that. It's not an important thing to say, especially because the next sentence is given these high stakes, organizations increasingly acknowledge the need for... They're not specifically talking about the Red Cross national chapters. They're just saying organizations in general. I want to make sure... I want to see what the rest of this is. Okay, so what I'm going to say here, I do not know if it's going to be C because I have not read the rest of this passage. Sometimes they get you because they repeated something in the very beginning, or something that was in the very beginning of the passage. So I haven't read this whole thing, so it might be that we already knew about the National Red Cross and the Crescent Movement and all that stuff. So I can't speak to that. But I can say that the paragraph's main idea is about, so I just did another read. Okay. Paragraph's main idea is about, people sometimes accidentally tweet out things for big organizations. It does not really relate to that. It just tells us that the Red Cross is large. That's all it's talking about. That's not the main idea of the paragraph. If the main idea of this paragraph is, oh my God, the Red Cross is so large and such an extensive organization, then it would fit in well. But it doesn't really relate to what it's actually about, which is this story about how sometimes stupid little tweets get sent out from large, reputable companies. So I'm going to go with D on this one. I'm going to go with D. That's all I got for you. Hopefully that's right. I feel good about that one, though. So Prodvanix says, I just did another reading passage, and for the ones I got wrong, I was able to immediately know why and thought, how could I possibly get this wrong? And it's been like that for a lot of the ones I get wrong. So is there any not like I'm going to say? You are right without reading the whole passage. Thank you, Tindo. Thank you, Tindo. I agree with that. Prodvanix, welcome to being a human and making mistakes that you later regret and are wondering why you possibly could have made those. Those are going to happen regardless. Those are going to happen whatever you do. You have to be careful. You have to be conscientious. You have to be very physical with the paper. What I mean by that is underline things. When you're reading things, underline the most important things. When you figure out an answer is not right, starting a farm. You're going to go start a farm? Got to starting a farm. Go starting a farm. Is that like gotta go or like GG starting a farm? You have to just scratch through answers. When you don't want to forget that you eliminated something while you're still looking at two other answers. Let's get physical. Yes, with the paper. Get physical with the paper. Yeah, I think you have to have an internal dialogue in your head too. Like try to think through things. Starting a farm. What does the GG mean? I'm so old now. At what time should I wake up? I'm glad that you put the preposition at the beginning of that sentence. Good game. Starting a farm. Yeah, we're not sure about that. Tindo, what time is the test? It's in different times. Typically, I think you have to be there at like 7:30 or something because you have to the test starts at 8 or you have to be in the class at 8. What does it say on your test ticket? A ram ranch. I don't know what to make of all these things. I just don't know. I'm so old. I'm just not with the times. How do I know when is my test? It should be on your test ticket, which they make you print out. you should be able to go on the college board and look at the instructions for when you get there. I mean, do you know where your test is? How do you know that? It should be all in one place. It's on your testing ticket. Do you know where you're going? Do you know when it is? I mean, like, when you should wake up, you can't really answer that question until you know exactly where you're going to go and when you have to be there. And yeah, you should be able to log into your account and look at your registration, and it'll tell you when and where you have to be. Let me see if there's any other questions so far. He'll fail Pepe Laugh. He's not going to fail Pepe Laugh. He's going to succeed Pepe Laugh. That's what I think. What does it say? I'm going to call Levi right now. I'm going to put him on. I really don't know what time my test is. Tindo, how did you sign up for it? I mean, if this is an easy thing. Go to College Board, the website, and, you know, are you trying to get an emoticon? Is that Pepe Laugh? Is that what that is? And it's just not popping up? Yeah, Tindo, you need to go find that information, like, now. I mean, today's Thursday, but it's probably a good idea to know where that information is, because that's kind of crucial. I'm going to call Levi and see what's going on with that guy. Putting him on speaker. Boomer's teaching math. Boomer's BTM. Just going to rail into this guy. Be so angry at him. You guys should give us questions. Me questions. Otherwise, I'm just walking around and talking in a black void.
Hello, this is...
Ugh, Levi, what are you doing? He's driving. He probably shouldn't pick up the phone or whatever. Okay. Tindo, do you have a girlfriend? Tindo, this is not personal life time. This is SAT cram time. Do you know when your test is and where it is? That's a more pressing question than if I have a girlfriend. So I'm going to just throw that question around at you. But first I'm going to take it. I'm going to change it into when and where is your test. And then I'm going to throw it back at you. Now you've got that to deal with. If you don't know, that is more important to know than currently watching me, because I'm not really doing anything, if you haven't noticed. So go to that now and report back and tell me that you know where you're going and when you're going, because that is very important. This is one of the best cram sessions on the internet. I'll tell you that right now. This cram session is just extensive, and everybody's watching. In terms of numbers, it doesn't get better than this. It does not get better than this. I've looked around. I've been there. I've played 2 hours of waiting for questions. Yeah, you know, like if there's no questions by 7:30, well, what time is it? Already 7? 7:06. I mean, Levi's gonna get here. We'll talk. We'll do some, you know, riffing, some bits back and forth, the banter, chewing the rag, stuff like that, shooting the things that need to be shot. But if no one's asking questions, I don't know. I might go on just the normal SAT Discord and see what they're asking about. What are people asking? Oh, this is a good one. I'll do this one. This is what I'm going to start doing. So you guys are not great at asking questions. Okay. Very good. What is the set of all solutions to the equation? Nah. And then they give you answers. Let's solve this thing. Well, one thing you could do is you could plug in answers. There's only a couple of them to try. See what happens. I'd say that's probably a very fast way to do it. So let's start with that, and then we'll talk about how you'd actually solve this thing. So we have the square root of x plus 2 is equal to negative x. All right. There's only 3 values that we actually have to test. -1, 2, I'm sorry, there are only two values. It's either going to be both of them or just one of them in particular. So let's start with -1. If I put -1 in plus 2 is equal to -1, I'm going to get the square root of 1 is equal to 1. That works. Very good. Square root of 1 is equal to 1. All right. Now let's try 2. We're going to try 2. So the square root of 2 plus 2. Square root of 2 plus 2 is equal to -2. This is the square root of 4 is equal to -2. Now you might be saying to yourself, wait, the square root of 4 is 2 or -2, so this works. Yes, but also no. If they have a square root symbol and there's no plus or minus in front of it, you take what's called the principal square root, which is just the positive one. You have to have plus or minus in front of it for you to be able to take the plus or minus square root of it. So this is just going to give you 2. 2 does not equal -2. Totally different number. In this case, -1 is your answer, okay? Now, why does that even happen? Well, I'll show you. Let's try to solve this the old-fashioned way, all right? We go up to here, all right? We got to get rid of the radical. That's annoying, so we have to square both sides. So if we do that, we're going to get x plus 2 is equal to -x squared. You square -x, what you get is positive x squared. So now I have to solve this quadratic. So I have to put it in standard form with everything on one side and 0 on the other. So I'm going to subtract these two over to this side. 0 is equal to x squared minus x minus 2. I can solve this by factoring. This is going to be x minus 2 times x plus 1. So the solutions from each factor, we have 2 and we have -1. So you might think that those are going to be your two solutions. And they are the solutions to this quadratic right here. They very much work for this quadratic. The problem is this quadratic isn't exactly the same thing as what we started with, because there's a square root in what we started with. So what you have to do is plug both these answers back into the original equation, because you might have something called an extraneous solution, which is a solution that at first looks good, but when you plug it back into what you originally had, it doesn't actually work. Okay, 2 is one of those extraneous solutions. So we throw it out, because it doesn't actually work up here, because it gives us 2 is equal to -2, which, as we all know, is just not true. First thing you learn in math class, 2 and -2, not the same thing. You're going to have a bad time. I want Levi to be here. Cram sessioning alone is nothing like cram sessioning with a good business partner. I'm sure you guys all know that. Everyone's got experience doing cram sessions with a good business partner and a bad business partner. Everyone's got those experiences. It's how you learn about yourself. Ah, he's here.
I'm here. And I come bearing a gift.
Oh, a fan!
Yes.
That's fantastic.
It is
Levi.
fantastic, huh?
Oh my gosh, I just walked right into that one.
You did.
Woo! That's ridiculous. Levi,
hello.
I tried calling you and put you on a speaker so everyone could hear you, but
How did that go?
well, you remember when we talked, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so just you know how it went. I don't need to tell you.
Yeah. How's everybody doing?
Dude,
Tindo.
everyone's watching, everyone's asking lots of questions.
That sounds sarcastic to me, Bert.
It might be. I forget how sarcasm works, but I know I do it all the time, is what people tell me. What if my proctor is racist? Then your proctor would be racist. That is the answer to your question. So I'm not really sure what you want me to do with that. Tindo? It's like, what if Levi was right over there? Well, then Levi would be right over there. Right? I feel like I'm holding up this cloud. Look at this. Something like that. I don't know. I'm just ranting and raving. I have nothing to say.
I can post on Reddit.
Yeah, you should. You should. We need more people. Levi's turning the fan on, and then he's going to relieve me. So I can go relieve myself. I used it yesterday. I liked it. I actually don't need to relieve myself again. I just wanted to say it again because I think it's clever. pretty loud. Is there another setting?
Yeah.
It's
Here. Is that better? Oh boy.
it's exposing the man behind the curtain, the Wizard of Oz.
Do you want to up close and read it?
No, I mean sure, and then come up here.
Yes.
Yeah.
You tired?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Bert.
it's okay. You
Did
didn't
you have
know.
any questions?
It was a very small amount.
Small number.
Prodvanix, well, I didn't say
number.
of questions. It's just implied. So you are right. I'm just trying to defend myself with an argument that I know is wrong.
Got it.
Yeah, no, not a lot of questions. Not a lot of questions at all. Just fun. It's just fun, that's all it is. Everyone's just having a good time. You guys have any questions? What are you worried about? What are you excited about? Oh, we already did that one. Alright, I'm gonna try this one. This looks fun. If t is greater than 0, which means that t is positive. Tindo, should you get a watch? Good idea. You can get a watch, provided that it is not a smartwatch, which I don't think you'd get just for a test. Also, it cannot make noises. If it makes a noise, they will void your test. And they'll take it away and they'll push you out without your stuff. And they'll throw your stuff after you. And stay out. And then your bag will come to and it might hit you. Okay? So be careful about the watch you get. There always is a clock up there. Maybe there's not. They will have on the board what time the test ends for each section, but having your own watch is a good idea. There's actually test prep watches that have the timing like programmed in for like when you should be on each passage, which are pretty wild. Just a clock. Just a clock. Anyway, if t is positive, and all that stuff is equal to that, what is the value of t? All right. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking. I say we do a substitution. I'll show you what I'm thinking. All right. What if I were to set x equal to 3t? If I did that, I could put x in for all the places that we see 3t right now. So I could make this into x squared minus 5x minus 14 is equal to 0. All right, now I can factor. This is going to be x minus 7 times x plus 2 is equal to 0. So I know that x is equal to 7 and negative 2. But now I take these back. Go back to x equals 3t. If I want the t value, I have to solve this for t. So t is equal to x over 3. So t is either equal to, we have 7 over 3, or we have negative 2 over 3. However, t is positive. That's what they told us at the very beginning. That's t right there, not negative 2/3. Okay? Now, I wanted to do a substitution because I thought it might be easier. Let's look at what would happen if I did it, and I just found t. Okay, so I'd have to square 3t, which gives us 9t squared. Such a better marker. Minus 15t, minus 14. Okay, there's nothing that they all share. There's no factors I could take out of all of them. So I'm going to have to just work with this. I have a couple options here. I could do the quadratic formula. It's a little messy. Takes a little while. If you don't have a calculator, then you know, this is much easier for me. But could do that. I could try to factor this. Okay. Difficult part is this does not have a leading coefficient of 1. It has a leading coefficient of 9. So I'm going to factor this. I have to find two numbers that multiply to the product of this and this, which means they have to multiply to, it's going to be negative 90 plus 36 is 126. Multiply to negative 26 and add to negative 15. I have to find what those two numbers are. Should I eat sausages on test day? What a random question. Yes. Sausages have protein. Protein is good for you. You want to stay full. You don't want to be hungry during the test. So, yes.
Always.
As long as they are specifically test day sausages. Which test day sausages.
Yeah. Were you actually considering not having a sausage on test day?
Levi's not a fan of not having sausages on test day.
Yeah.
What numbers do that? All right, this is annoying. This is a big number to multiply to. It's going to be a negative and a positive number. They're going to be 15 units apart. So the square root of 125 would be approximately, I don't know, 11-ish, but now they're going to be 15 units apart. So we have to go 7 up and 7 down approximately. That gets us to 4 and 7 up from around 8. No. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Okay, so 15 units apart. If I use 10 and 25, way too big. If I use 5 and 20, this is 100, a little too small. 6 and 21, 126. Look at that, 6 and 21. All right, this one needs to be the negative one because they add to a negative number. So I have 9t squared minus 21t plus 6t minus 14 is equal to 0. Don't waste time with stuff that no one uses to solve. SAT approved sausages. Roby Expert, you're talking about this right here? Like this method? I agree, it takes more time. Wow.
Did you hear that?
Did I hear that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. What happened?
Everything's fine, don't worry. It's fine.
Okay. Ruby Expert, on the test, don't waste time. Quad formula, easy. Yeah, no, I mean, like, depends on how much experience you have with each one. I mean, I'm almost done with this. I just erased all that. Okay, so this has 3 in both of these. 3t minus 7 plus 2t. 3t minus 7 is equal to 0. 3t. I'm explaining stuff, which is why it's taking me longer. 3t minus 7 is equal to 0. T is equal to negative 2/3, which we can't have because t has to be positive, and t is equal to 7/3, which we can't have. Roby Expert! The program that solves quadratic instantly. I know! It's called quad. It's on a calculator. Prime number t squared minus prime number plus prime number. We don't have prime numbers here. What do you mean by that? I mean, they're coprime, which means they can't be simplified. They have no factors in common, but they're not specifically prime numbers themselves. But yeah, if you have quadratic formula on your calculator, which all of you should have, by the way, it's a very, very good thing to have on your calculator because it speeds up all that stuff, then you don't need to do any of this. Levi,
Yeah.
have you posted on Reddit?
Yes.
All right, come up here. Relieve me!
Relieve me, note.
All right. Oh, I need markers. I actually have to go to the other room and hang out.
Shut
first for a
up.
while.
Shut your mouth.
Oh, okay.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
So, yeah, Jared's okay,
That's good.
but we have to pick him up.
Take him where?
He was okay. We just had to take him to his chair.
Oh.
But, like, it's hard to pick up somebody who's, like, gonna break a bone if you pull too hard
Yeah.
on their bones.
So he just
Yes.
called you guys and said, I've fallen, I can't get up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, his nurse was there, or the woman who takes care of
But
him.
she can't pick him
she
up.
can't pick him up.
Okay. Got it. You can finish this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Sounds good.
Woo!
How was that for you for the last little bit? Huh?
Yeah, why not? I'm gonna upload your Reddit post.
Thanks, Bird.
Yeah.
It's very thoughtful.
Thank you.
What a nice guy. That's right. If I get caught cheating, will all my tests get invalidated? Probably. Actually, your old tests, maybe not, but don't don't cheat. Then you can't get caught cheating. It's what I've always found to work best. What you should do is try to catch other people cheating. That's what you should spend your mental energy on during the SAT. Oy. Okay, so thank you, Roby Expert. Yeah, thank you. That's very productive. All right, so we have some viewers. Please ask us questions. Was here last time for ACT? Oh, are you taking both? R4, R4280? What are your thoughts? Is something good happening?
We have a second fan.
Oh, yes. It's so old. Look at that thing.
I know, it looks like a retro TV now.
It's like the Jared version of a
Have they
fan.
seen it?
No.
Oh.
Cool. Okay. What do you have questions on? Do you have general idea question about the test in general, or do you have specific math, specific English? What are you saying? Tindo, just saying. Sure you are, Tindo. Sure. Just ask me questions about the SAT. We're not doing ACT stuff, but if you're here, what should I call you? Arf. I don't know. Posted another question. Thank you, Kuzi. Hello, by the way. I didn't see you earlier. You didn't see me either. We walked right by each other. Ooh, look at that. All right, we got a Kuzi question. Levi, I'm scared of the SAT on Saturday. Don't do that. What are you worried about? Like, specifically, what are you worried about? I find that actually naming what you're scared of specifically will help you see that it just, it's not just an unknown, unnamed anxiety. You can actually name it, and it makes it a little bit easier. Ooh, what do we got? Killer Popcorn 123. How do you go about studying for the math section? I don't know what to review, and I got a 640 on the math section for my practice test I just took. I will tell you soon once we do this Kuzi question because it came first. Hey, Kuzi, can you post the Discord link, please? Or do the exclamation point Discord thing so that people who are new, because it's a Cram session, can see it? Wait, we don't need any of that. We just need this, right? I think it's just this. Thank you, Kuzi. Or Roby. Thank you both so much. All right. Nah. Okay, so math studying, I will answer that next. Whoa, just a bunch of things happened. Okay, I was not doing good on math, but after practice tests, I've just been getting worse. Oh, that's not good, Kuz. I think I'm just tired. Yes, you're probably tired. Kuzi, go to bed. I'm serious. I'm not sure what else hammering the math will do for you. If you feel like you're burning out, you need to take a break before the test. Your brain should be pumped up and ready to go. Do physical things beforehand, like go for a run or do whatever sports you do or something like that. Do that the days leading up to the test, not having your brain focused on this all the time. It will help. Oh boy, I assume you're answering this question, so we'll see. Points A and B lie in a circle with radius 1. Oh, so it's a unit circle. Radius 1, A and B. Arc AB has a length of pi over 3. What fraction of the circle? Okay, great. So we have a radius of 1. So I'm labeling that. And let's say that goes to point A. And then we have point B is over here. And this is pi over 3. That distance from A to B is pi over 3. That's poorly drawn, but no, I'm going to erase that. That's not good. Thanks for the follow, Killer Popcorn. Glad you want to know things. Also, it's not just tonight that we're doing this. This is like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday every week. Tonight we're just going a little bit longer because the SAT is tomorrow. Also, if you take the ACT, we do that too. Brady, would you put as the title for today's stream?
Something fun.
Thanks. Okay. You know what? I'll erase this too, and I'll just do this in another color. So, we have that this guy here is pi over 3. Yeah? And now we are trying to find the circumference. What is the circumference? this is a sector ratio question, okay? Sector ratio questions are pretty common, more so on the SAT than the ACT. Not that we're talking about the ACT, but I am. Sector ratios. Okay? That's what this is. You're going to set up a ratio, and it's going to look like this every single time. And then you're just going to fill in what matters. So, you're going to have this ratio, and on one side you're going to have 360 degrees, or, oh wait, what are we looking for? What fraction of the circumference? Oh, never mind. This is even easier than that. My bad. Ignore this. If we want to talk about sector ratios, just let me know since it's sort of set up right here. But we know that our radius is 1, right? If our radius is 1, then what is the circumference of the circle? The circumference of the circle would be 2 pi r, so it would be 2 pi, right? So the circumference has to be 2 pi because you do 2 pi times radius. Radius is 1. So we have a circumference of 2 pi. Now, what fraction of the circumference is that length? Well, to find that fraction, you just, and I think you said this probably, you have pi over 3. Just double checking this question. You have that, the arc AB has a length of pi over 3. What fraction of the circumference of the circle? Yeah, okay, so you find the circumference and then you divide. There you go. So pi over 3 divided by 2 pi is the same thing as pi over 3. If we keep change flip, we get times 1 over 2 pi. The pi's cancel, and we get 1/6. So the length of AB is 1/6 of the whatever it is, the circumference. You could just add pi over 3 up until you get to 2 pi. You could do that as well. Yep. Fraction cares only about fraction. What's happening? Okay. Do we have more questions? Kuzi, do you know why you got 1/3? Were you adding up to pi, Kuzi? And you forgot that it would be 2 pi, or maybe you just did pi r instead of 2 pi r, or you think something like that? Was that the situation? The answer is 1/6 plus or minus 1 over 100. I don't know what that means. Hey, Brady.
Yeah.
I actually don't know what this means. So on this question, wait, sorry, let me make this bigger for you guys. Actually, that really doesn't matter too much. So this is the answer to this question, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me. So just work your way through it. This is math, not engineering. Great.
Okay. Okay.
So we have pi over 3, and the radius is 1. So the circumference is 2 pi r.
It's pi over 3. What fraction of the circumference of the circle is the length of arc AB? So pi over 3 divided by 2 pi. So you got pi over 6.
I got 1 over 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pi's canceled.
So why is it plus or minus 1? Oh,
Yeah.
it's because this is you're allowed to put in a decimal in this software, and so if your decimal is very close, then they'll accept it. They'll let you be within 2 decimal places. Sorry, 1/100th of the right answer.
Nice.
Yeah.
I haven't used this software, so that makes sense. That makes sense, Kuzi? It's not actually the right answer. It's just if you're rounding pi, you're allowed to round to the hundredths. Not that they say anything about rounding here. Might be the last time I see you guys if everything went right. Okay, that's cool. Well, Tindo, are you a senior? Are you going to be a senior, or have you started senior year? Or are you a junior? Junior, okay. We do essay stuff for seniors also soonish. All right, so that was the only question we have. All right, so those of you who are newish, but if I get a 1500 plus, I finish. Good. Get out of here, Tindo. We want you here, but also we want you to be done and move on to other things in your life that are significantly more important than this stuff. Okay. For those of you who are watching, and it's your first time, please join the Discord and ask questions there. You can ask us questions about whatever you want. It can be like, what do I eat the day of? It can be, we have to do this question too. Whoever asked this, was this R242 or was this somebody else? I forget. The how to study for math. Do you think writing curve will continue to be -1 equals -20? That was Killer Popcorn. Great. I would expect that, yes. Okay, so math studying. Killer Popcorn, are you asking for studying for math for tomorrow, or generally because you're going to take the test in October again or something like that? Because I have a lot of tips for studying for math over a long period of time, but 2 days before is a different animal. Damn, that's a lot. A little bit of both. I think I just don't understand math concepts since I'm a pretty decent math student already. It's unlikely to be the math concepts themselves so much. Are you a native English speaker? Because do you feel comfortable with math more so than verbal sides of things? Okay, so native English speaker, so that's good, and that makes it easier. The way they ask the math questions is different from how you get asked math questions in school. Also, the math stuff goes back to older stuff. So they ask the same types of questions, the same types of ways every time on the test, and it's new to you. What types of math, is there some math question type that you don't get? Is it the calculator section that just the graph reading or the table reading kills you? Or is it, you don't like the inequality questions? Because long term, you have to be taking, you want to take a diagnostic test to figure out what types of questions you're getting wrong, and then hammer those questions studying individually, that question type, that concept, then come back and take another practice test. Don't just keep doing full-length tests all the time. Geometry, graphing questions, circles, etc. Okay, so visualizing the math is generally difficult. I think that the most productive thing to do at this point is talk about, what's the question? Oh, yes. The most productive thing to talk about at this point, 2 days before the test, for general graphing stuff, is frizz. I think that's the most important. So let's say we're done with that. And I will tell that to you in a second. Is learning for SAT a decent way to learn actual math?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it covers a lot of basic mathematics, through the high school level. But, at the point where you're getting like almost a perfect score, and then it's just gaming the test a little bit to make sure you get those last couple of points, not so much. But for the most part, yes, it's very useful. For the person who asked how to improve reading section, I found reading articles and avidly reading helps a lot. Yeah, definitely reading all the time. Okay, so frizz. Let's talk about frizz. This is seriously important because a lot of the math you know, and you just don't know what you're supposed to do in a given question because they say it in a weird way. So recognition is very important. Okay, frizz stands for factors, roots, intercepts, zeros, and solutions. All 5 of these things are pretty much interchangeable. These are X-intercepts, by the way. So, the most important 2 are factors and intercepts. Okay? That relationship is extremely important on this test because you can use it in so many different problems. Okay, the SAT is designed to test your math skills, but you can learn from it. Yeah. Okay, so one of the types of questions they do on this test is, okay, first of all, the most important thing to think about when you have X-intercepts, or any intercept, is that the other variable is 0, by definition, right? And any Y-intercept here, right, that is going to be the point 0, comma, Y, something positive, but we don't know what it is. And then this point here, sure, is going to be something negative for x, and then a 0 for y. The idea of having a value of 0 for your y value at the x-intercept is extremely important on this test. Okay? If you are ever asked for an x-intercept, that is when you plug in 0 for y. When you plug in 0 for y is generally when you factor things. Okay? So, if you are given, there are those questions that, you know, if you're given a question like f of x equals, let's say x squared minus 4x minus 12? Yeah, let's say you have this, okay? And you're told find the zeros. So that's this one. Great. I think most people are relatively used to just saying, okay, well, I'm going to factor this, and I get x minus 6, x plus 2, and then I'm going to say that x equals 6, that's a 0, and x equals negative 2, and that's a 0. But why did this happen? You do need to know why things like this happen the way they do, because when you get weirder questions that just talk about the pure concept underlying this, you're going to get lost. Because your recognition is here, you see something sort of factorable, you're asked for zeros, and then you just kind of do this. And that's not necessarily the best thing to rely on for the SAT, especially because it asks weird questions on these concepts. So the reason for this is that if you are asked for a 0, it means you're also asked for an x-intercept. To find x-intercepts, you want factors. So that's the steps here. X-intercepts means that you have a 0 value for y, which means that this f of x will equal 0. So then you set this whole thing equal to 0, right? I'm just moving it to this side. But y is now 0. Then when you factor, you have this. And then by zero product property, you set x minus 6 equals 0, and you set x plus 2 equal to 0. And then you solve each of those, and you get these as your factors, okay? Sorry, as your x-intercepts, as your zeros. The factors are x minus 6 and x plus 2. So this might be clear if you're just told, give me the zeros. Also, please ask questions in the Discord, because I will answer them. Right now I'm going through this, but I can cut it a little bit shorter if you have questions. It doesn't have to only be math. It can be reading, it can be writing, it can be whatever you want. It has to be SAT specific. It can be like what type of calculators you're allowed to use and things like that. I will do those questions and put them in the queue, and then we'll just go through and do that stuff. Okay? We have a Discord, so post your pictures of what you're working on there. I can do hard questions. I can do easy questions. Don't worry about asking me something basic if that's what you want to talk about. Don't ask stupid stuff like 2 plus 2. I'm not going to answer. I might be a dick. I don't know. All right. So that is, I think, a more recognizable problem. But then I'm sure if you've studied for the SAT and taken their practice tests, you'll get one of these questions where you're given x and you're given f of x. Thank you, Tindo. It was more because I didn't know what it was that I said that. So let's say that you have these values. You have -1, you have 0, you have 2, you have 3. And let's say this is 2, 4, 3, and 0. And then, so you're given this table, and you're said, there is a function f of x, okay? And then you're given, okay, which of the following must be a factor, okay? So must be a factor, must be factor. And they give you x plus 2, they give you x minus 4, they give you x plus 1, and they give you x minus 3. So, if you're looking at the chat, if you don't know the answer to this, don't look in chat because someone's going to say it, okay? But the approach here is to think, okay, I'm looking for factors. In these relationships, factors are connected to x-intercepts. For an x-intercept, you have a y of 0. No, I don't mind. You can definitely put answers in the chat. It's just I was warning new-ish people that if I ask a question, it's going to get answered, and they don't want to necessarily look there if they want to actually think about it themselves. I'm not mad, but you could definitely make it up to me if you put questions in the Discord. I pointed over there because that's where I have one of my monitors. It makes it sound like I have a lot of monitors that I bought. I didn't pay for any of these monitors that I have because I got them from a recycling center. and posting online for free stuff. Okay, so we are looking for X-intercepts because we're looking for factors. Now, X-intercepts means that we have a 0 value for y, not for x. So we're going to be looking at this one because y is 0 here. There's another 0 here, but that's an x value of 0, which would be a y-intercept. So if I ask for a y-intercept, great, you know that the y-intercept is 4. But in this case, the y is 0 when x is 3, which means that you must have a factor at x minus 3, because when you set this equal to 0, then you get x plus 3. Or sorry, then you add 3 and you get x equals 3 when y is 0. That doesn't mean that your function is f of x plus 3. It just means that in the factored form, you get f of x equals something, maybe something else, maybe that's squared, and then you have at least an x minus 3 according to this table of values. Okay, please let me know if that relationship doesn't make sense. Killer Popcorn, was this helpful at all? This is a pretty common SAT question type. You're not going to get 3 of these, at least with the table, but this is one of those things. And then we could have some, and please ask me more questions. I can talk about this for the next hour, I don't mind, but we can also talk about other new things. I mean, I already knew all this stuff. It's more so when it's really a really weird question. Can you give me an example? If you can find a question on a test that you've taken recently that you just, maybe you know the answer now, but it still doesn't make sense, or something you've been working on, that would be super helpful. Otherwise, I do this, and it's not useful for the person who asked the question. Yeah, hold on, I'll get me my book, BRB. Cool. All right, while Killer Popcorn's gone, somebody ask a question, or multiple. You can like put 20 questions in the Discord. I really don't mind. Or you can put it in the SAT Discord and at Nerdish, because we're a member of those Discords, and you can just at us there. How do you prevent careless math errors? I have a 770, but I missed 2 questions. Any tips? The curve always gets me. -2 used to be 780. Yeah, okay. So first of all, 770 versus 780 will not keep you from getting into a school. Okay, so just keep that in mind. These schools are looking for ranges of scores. They don't really, it's not going to put you over the edge, most likely, at least at that level. There's no school in the country that would refuse a student who got a 770 on math and maybe something comparable on reading. Nobody. No school. But that being said, because I know that wasn't your question, with simple mistakes, and this is, I mean, tonight is the time to practice, maybe tomorrow morning, but then stop, because you don't want to be doing stuff, you know, every hour of the night before the SAT. You need to practice being perfect. It sounds like you know all the concepts. If you know all the concepts, you're practicing making simple mistakes. And I know that's not necessarily a helpful thing, because I'm not going to teach you anything. But what you need to do is when you take a math section again, I recommend starting with the no calc because it's quick. Do not make any mistakes the first time through, and do not check your answers. So you don't get to check your answers. On the actual test, if you have time, you check your answers. But when you're practicing and trying to get that perfect score on the math, because -1 is -10 points or -20 points even, what you'll have to do, you have to practice being perfect. If you practice being perfect, then it's going to eliminate simple mistakes. The only way you can eliminate simple mistakes is focus. That is the only thing. And I assume your simple mistakes are minus signs, or missing something in the question, or answering the wrong question because they ask you for X and you give them Y because it was easier to solve for it first. You have to just practice being perfect, not practice being good at math and making some simple mistakes. That is how you get to that 800, not a 770 or 780. It has worked for my students. It's just, I mean, it's an annoying piece of advice, but that's because simple mistakes are annoying. I'll send a pic of the question in Discord. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna. I am still here just to listen to his soothing voice. I have a soothing voice? That's cool. I'm flattered, Tindo, but now I'm also self-conscious a little bit. A lot to live up to. Oh, and put the questions in questions for stream, which is which is one of the channels on our Discord. Oh, there it is. Shalom. Hey, I'm gonna pull this one up, but there's a big shadow on it. Could you turn on the flash on your camera when you're taking this photo? But until you do that, if you can, I will pull this one up specifically. Okay. This is in the Discord. Please, if somebody doesn't know what the Discord is, can you ask and then people can tell you or make it clear that you don't know what's going on? Okay. We got this thing. Do we have a new one yet? Nice, thank you. Oh, this looks kind of haunted. I don't know. The lighting is scary. It's okay. I'm just being annoying. All right. So I can't read that from that far away. The scatter plot below shows the amount of electric energy generated in millions of megawatt hours by nuclear sources over a 10-year period. Sure. Okay, so we got energy on the y-axis. We have the years on the x-axis. Of the following equations, which best models the data in the scatter plot? Whoa. That's interesting. Well, let's do this very generally first. We have, let's look at what we're going for, because, you know, this to me at first would look like, wait. Oh, okay, so just so everybody knows, it would be hard if that's non-calc. Maybe. Okay, I want everybody to notice, because I didn't at first, who was this Killer Popcorn, I assume? Are you Shalom? Shalom, by the way. Mazel tov. We have the two lines that are drawn in are touching one of the scatter plot dots. So I didn't see that at first, so I was thinking this is a linear function, but it's not, because also all of our possibilities here are x squared, which means that we have a parabola. So it looks like, very generally, our parabola does that, right? It goes up, then it goes down, which means that this parabola opens down, which means that it has to have a leading coefficient that is negative, okay? So if our leading coefficient is negative, then A is wrong because the leading coefficient is positive, and so is C. So now we're stuck with, what do we have here? We have we now have B and D. And now we need to figure out what's next. Well, it looks, and so this is the only other thing. We actually don't have to, yeah, I made that same mistake. I just drew that since it seemed like a whole number being 10. Oh, I see, gotcha. Okay, for these, this is, what number is this? I can't see, it looks like a 20. I don't even know if you guys can see that. I just can't see it on my monitors. But it's kind of nice, a little hat. So it looks like it goes up and down, right? So it has to be a negative leading coefficient. Because these numbers are so freaky, I mean, yeah, you could graph it, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. We can figure this out faster than that. And we're going to go back to x and y intercepts, actually. So we know that the leading coefficient is negative. So we're just left with b and d. Now look at b and d. The final term, the C term, is negative 745-ish for B, and then positive 745-ish for D. Because of that, that gives us our, because we know that, we know our y-intercept. Because this is not y equals mx plus b form, but that form, y equals mx plus b, since we're going on a little tangent here, if you're looking for the y-intercept, you plug in 0 for x. You plug in 0 for x, this just goes away. That's why b in this form is always going to be your y-intercept. But in the form we have over here, we have y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. The same thing actually ends up happening. Because if we're looking for the y-intercept, because look at this y-intercept here. It definitely is positive, right? I'm going to double check that. Yeah, it's definitely positive, which means that our y-intercept has to be positive. It means that our equation has to show that. Y-intercept means you plug in 0 for x, which means that this goes away and this goes away. So our C value must be positive, which means that our answer is D. We have a parabola that opens down and has a positive y-intercept, so we don't actually have to plug anything in. So whenever you have one of these questions, look at the data in the scatter plot like a parabola. In this one, yes. So you can always plug in. That's always something that you could do. But when you're graphing, you have a couple of things in your back pocket every single time. And I take back the word back pocket. It should be, might be 2 words, but put it in your front pocket. The first thing that you should always be doing is throwing stuff that's easier at problems, unless you know that that's not what's going to work and you got to do something harder, you know what you're going to do. But it's C, right? No. If you're saying the answer choice is C, no, it's D. What? Yeah, so it has to be D. So you're going to throw stuff that you know. X and Y intercepts are surprisingly helpful on this test, okay? So is slope. In this case, slope doesn't help you because you have a parabola. We don't do slope on parabolas in non-calculus stuff. So for parabolas, you know how they move, right? They open up, it's a positive leading coefficient. They open down, it's negative. You know how to find the y-intercept. You know how to find the x-intercept, although that doesn't help you here, and it would be a pain. It isn't C. C is an upward-facing parabola. Yes. Very good. Oh, smiling face is positive. Crying face is negative in this case. Yes. Yes. You're saying all the same things. Very good. So you're going to, at this one, I threw what I mean, first I thought it was linear, but then looking at the answers, it's clearly not. And then I realized that there was that other point over there. So it's going like that. You have to throw stuff that makes sense. And do the easier stuff that doesn't require you to plug into something that's this painful looking. This looks awful. And you don't know the actual values. So it's going to be a pain. If the equations are really simple, maybe plugging in makes sense because it gives you an intuition for things. But the intuition should be open up, open down. You know what that means. You know how vertices move for parabolas, those types of things. C in a parabola equation is y-intercept. Yes. Yes, it is. In standard form like that, it is. But what I think is a more important thing to remember is that if you're looking for the y-intercept, you plug in 0 for x. If you're looking for the x-intercept, you plug in 0 for y. If you ever see the word intercept, you're going to think about doing that when you're plugging into the equation. You're also going to think that x-intercept means the same thing as roots. It's frizz, so factors, roots, intercepts, zeros, solutions. All of those things are the same, x-intercept specifically. Okay, please ask me more questions, okay? I can answer your questions. I think I spent too long on this question, so I want to get to more stuff. It doesn't have to be math, it can be English, it can be how commas are used, it can be periods, semicolons, anything like that. It can be specific question types. If you tell me a test and a question number, I can pull up the test on my computer and I can show you guys how I go through it. I'm not going to go through a whole test. That would be painful for everybody involved. The starting value. Yeah, if you're talking about in context R4, like the starting value if your parabola shows the projectile motion and x is time is, x is 0 seconds or something short. How do you use semicolons and colons? Oh my gosh, I'm glad you asked.
Dude, I talked about it earlier today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I'm not that glad you asked. Brady already explained this. Brady's the other guy. I don't know if you saw him here earlier, Popcorn, but he explained it earlier in the video. So if you want to go back, what were you writing on the board? You write independent clause stuff and things like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so just go back to the video on our videos section because it was from today, and scrub through earlier in the in the first hour that we were streaming, and it's there.
I was I was standing over to the right, and I had like a grid with the 4 different ways to.
Oh, cool. Brady was standing over to the right, and he had a grid of the 4 different ways to separate independent clauses, which are the uses of semicolons and periods or colons. Did you talk about all the uses of colons or no?
No, I just talked about the rules. So actually, you can go through the uses if you want.
Okay.
I just talked about the infinite clause rule.
Yeah, I am in physics, so that's how I relate it. Got it. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, whatever works for you guys. Like, you don't have to do math exactly the way everybody else does. No, I don't want to do that stuff. Whatever. Okay, so colons, yeah? Let's talk about colons. Brady had that other stuff. Popcorn, are you still here? I'm going to call you Popcorn. That's a little bit more friendly. I know I'm a very intimidating person, so when I say killer popcorn, people get a little bit worried. Okay, so do you know what an independent clause is? Does everybody know what independent clauses are? Say no, or say yes, depending on your answer. You know what that is? Great. So I will assume that everybody knows what that is because everybody's the same as popcorn. Okay, so for colons, because let's start over here. Colons. You have to have an independent clause before the colon. Then you have the colon, and then you can do whatever you want. In context, a colon sets up. So this guy sets up that guy. So the first idea sets up the second idea. So you would not say, my name is Levi, first of all, because, shut up, that's not a good joke. You would not say, I would not say, my name is Levi, this pencil, or this marker is blue. Wouldn't do that because my name is Levi does not set that up. You wouldn't use a semicolon either. But you could say, I like chocolate, colon, it tastes so good, right? I like chocolate is an independent clause. It tastes so good is whatever. And the first idea sets up the second idea. So you can do that. Now, I can give you other examples. So you could have an independent clause followed by another independent clause. So I like chocolate, colon, it's so good. So that would be IC, comma, or IC colon IC. You could also say, I bought fruit. Now, let's actually say this, such as apples, bananas, and pears. All right, so would you put a colon here, popcorn, or anybody else? Do you think we should put a colon where I just put it in, I don't know how visible that is, right after the word as, right before apples? Just rewriting it, but it's going to be the same. Just didn't give myself room. I bought fruit, comma, such as. No, because the rule is independent clause, colon. An independent clause has to be a subject, has to have a subject and verb and be a complete thought. You do have a subject and verb. I bought, great, but it's not a complete thought. It has to be able to stand alone. I bought fruit such as. That's not good enough. That's not an independent clause, so this is wrong. The way this is written is incorrect. It would have to be a colon here. I bought fruit, such as that. I mean, I wouldn't even put a colon here. Honestly, I might put a comma. This is more of a non-essential thing because it says such as. It's like, here's some things I bought. If you wanted to put a colon, I might get rid of such as and say, I bought fruit, apples, bananas, and pears. That's fine. It's a little choppy sounding, but you have an independent clause. You are not allowed to add other stuff that makes it need more stuff, okay? So, always need an independent clause. You could also say, the jury returned, yes? Bad handwriting, sorry. Its verdict guilty. Yeah? So this one, the jury returned its verdict. That is an independent clause. Colon, guilty. You can do that. You can have a single word, you can have a list, you can have an independent clause. The first thing needs to set up the second thing. You have to have this independent clause. That is by far the most important thing. Semicolons are way easier. Whereas colons can have some other stuff going on, semicolons are always the same. It is an independent clause, semicolon, and then another independent clause. These two ideas have to be related. They don't have, one doesn't have to set up the other. You would not say the jury returned its verdict, semicolon, guilty. Why? Because that's not an independent clause. But you could say Brady likes chocolate, semicolon. He also likes vanilla. You could do that. Kind of worthless, but you could do it. Does this make sense? I can do, you know what, why don't I pull up an SAT and we can go through one of those punctuation questions. How does that sound? How many people are watching right now? Can you check? I just want to know because people are pretty quiet. That makes a lot more sense now. Good. Let's just do some practice with it because the general theoretical stuff isn't particularly helpful, especially with very simple sentences like that. It's a good place to start. Now we should practice.
You're at 22.
Okay. Yeah, there are a lot of you not asking questions. I'm glad you're watching. That's good. Hopefully you're learning something. But ask your questions because I'm happy to just tutor Killer Popcorn in front of you, but I could also tutor you. We also do private tutoring if you want private tutoring. We charge for that.
It's extremely private.
But it's very private. It's not like this. It's also more helpful than this for individuals, obviously. Okay, I'm going to do an official practice test, and this is SAT number 5, because that's what's up. Wait, what am I doing? Writing, yeah? Okay, give me a sec. I'm looking at something that you can't see, obviously. Brady, when you leave me alone up here, I just say stupider and stupider stuff.
Oh.
Thanks, Brady. That was productive. Yeah. No. No. I'm just looking for a semicolons, colons, dashes, commas type of question. You know the ones. Wow, okay. Give me a moment longer. Okay. We have a dash. No. There have got to be. Oh, yeah, here we go. Let's do this one. This looks fun, actually. Bam. Alright. So, here, a little bit of this. I think that's really all we need. We're doing number 35. Also, remember, a dash can serve as a colon, but it is less formal than a colon. In almost all cases, yeah, R4, but a colon can separate two independent clauses. A semicolon, a colon can separate two independent clauses. A dash cannot separate two independent clauses. There are only 4 ways to separate two independent clauses. Period, semicolons, colons, and comma fanboys. If you don't know what comma fanboys is, please ask me. Okay, I covered up the comma rules, or the rules, so I'm just going to rewrite them here real quick. So we have IC, semicolon, IC. So that's for semicolons. And then we also have IC, colon, whatever. So let's keep those ideas in mind. Yeah? All right. So, number 35. What I recommend for when you're doing, any section really, is you're looking at the answer choices in the reading or in the writing section helps enormously to figure out what you're being tested on. It's not because it's going to help you more. It's help you get the answer faster or something. It's just, well, no, that's not what I meant. It doesn't make you more. It's just better. It's just better. I'm going to not equivocate on that. Figure out the question type, and then you don't waste your time using your gut feeling generally, and you're saying, okay, in these answer choices, I see a colon in B. The given thing is a dash, then we have a C has a comma, and then we have a semicolon in D. I'm going to start with a semicolon. The D is the answer choice D is the easiest question to answer, not necessarily right versus wrong, but just it's the easiest because there's only one use of semicolons. Start with the easiest punctuation. Always look at the period answer first, the semicolon answer first, then go to colons, then go to dashes, then go to commas. Commas are the hardest punctuation on this test for sure. Okay, so let's start with D. Semicolons need two independent clauses. Let's see if we have that. Starting at the beginning of the sentence with it right here. we have, it is not difficult to understand why a cash-strapped, understaffed publication might feel pressure to cut teams of investigative reporters. I like it. I like the semicolon. Now, I don't like the apostrophe, but maybe we'll come back. Okay, you know what? Let's just knock out D. D is no good, not because of the semicolon. The semicolon might be fine, but reporters with an apostrophe S is possessive. So popcorn, D is incorrect because that possessive apostrophe can't end a sentence. And the reporters what? It's teams of investigative reporters, not teams of investigative reporters dogs, right? So D is no good. Now let's go to the next easiest punctuation, which is a colon, and it doesn't have an apostrophe. So we said the apostrophe is wrong, so A and D are both out. Now we're just looking at B and C. Now B has a colon, so let's remind ourselves of the colon rule. The colon rule is independent clause, whatever you want. And just I'll read it again, but I'm pretty sure it's an independent clause. It is not difficult to understand why a cash-strapped, understaffed publication might feel pressure to cut teams of investigative reporters. Yeah, that makes sense. It's not hard to see why these publications might feel pressure to cut teams of these people, to get rid of these teams. Great, we have an independent clause. Now let's see, do we have something else afterwards that is set up by this? Their work is expensive and time-consuming. That makes sense to me. It doesn't. Okay. So it's not hard to understand why these publications that don't have a lot of money fire teams of investigative reporters. Their work is expensive and time-consuming. I like that. That sets up the second idea with the first idea. So I like B. The colon seems to work. Let's go to D. We have a comma. That isn't going to work here, and I will tell you why. In doing B, we have an independent clause, then we have a colon. What comes after the colon, parts of speech-wise? Independent clause or not? Please let me know. We have, their work is expensive and time-consuming. Is that phrase an independent clause? Their work is expensive and time-consuming. The answer is yes. It is. You have a subject and a verb, and it can stand alone. Their work, so that's your subject, and then, or work, whatever. Their work, and then is your verb. So you have an independent clause, which means that in this case, our example is I see colon I see, which is totally fine. But because we just found that out, now looking at answer choice C with a comma, we know our parts of speech are the same. We've just replaced the colon with a comma, which is I see, comma, I see. That's incorrect. You are not allowed to separate two independent clauses with just a comma. You need comma fanboys. So the answer choice, or the correct answer for number 35 is B. Does that approach make sense? Or does the content of this question and the correct answer make sense, and do you understand why all the other answer choices are wrong? This is for anybody, so if anybody wants clarification, please ask me. There are a lot of you, so either my chat isn't working, which is feasible. Is chat working, Brave? Can you check? I assume that it is.
I just started it, so I'll let you know.
Can you type in test?
Sure.
Or type in ask us your questions or something. Have I just... No, we have good connection. Answer your questions. Yeah, that makes sense. Got it. Okay. I got tripped up on reporters. That's all. Okay, cool. Makes sense. All right. But I do recommend, and this is something you guys can do immediately. You don't have to necessarily practice it, although you should. But you can take it to the test in 2 days from now. The order of answer choices that you do when you're dealing with punctuation questions. Go to the easiest punctuation first. Semicolons and periods are easiest. And then go to colons, then go to dashes, then go to commas. I got to go, though. This has been super helpful. Thank you for the help. No problem. Please come back and watch our stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday every week. It won't go this late, but it's 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hey, Esford at 2020, they have no distinction between the M dash and the N dash on the test. It's just the dash. So don't worry about having specific distinctions between them. If you want to go over the use of the dash, we can talk about it.
Okay, so the dash is wrong. The dash is wrong, actually, but what's more important for A, the reason A is definitely wrong, is the apostrophe screws everything up. The apostrophe makes reporters need to own something, like the reporters' dogs, the reporters' notebooks, and that's not what's happening. We just want teams of reporters, right? We want groups of people, not groups of people's something.
Yeah, there needs to be a word after that they're possessing. We're just not there. R4R for 280. A 345 solid block is made out of 1 by 1 by 1 unit cubes. The outside surface of the block is painted black. How many unit cubes have exactly one face painted black? Oh, this is excellent. Oh, I love this problem. I absolutely love this problem. Well, the volume. Let's first figure out how many solid block, how many 1 by 1 by 1 unit cubes there's going to be. 3 by 4 by 5 is going to be 12 times 5, which is going to be 60. There are going to be 60 unit cubes in this thing. So I'm going to draw a little pic. You're going to like it. You're going to like this pic, and if you don't, then you can leave. Is that all right if I say that to them?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Here we go. This is my kind of problem.
It is.
I was having a conversation last night about the Rubik's Cube anyway, so I'm totally primed. I'm primed and ready.
Optimus Prime.
I'm Optimus Primed, because he speaks with an accent, does he? Kind of does.
Yes. He speaks with, like, a lot of ego. That's really more what it is.
Oh, he really does. All right, this picture is going to be fantastic. I don't know if you've ever played with a Rubik's Cube, but there are a couple different kinds of pieces on there. They have corner pieces, which have 3 different... Almost done here. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Does it get better than that? I don't think it does. There are... Okay, if you look at a corner piece, like this one right here. Imagine this is a Rubik's Cube. This thing has 3 different colors on it, because there's 3 different faces that are on the outside of the cube. It's got 3 different faces on the inside of the cube that you never see. And you don't want to see them, because they're gross. Where did I drop the... There, wait, where's the cat? Okay, sounds good. Was this an SAT question? So, this corner piece does... Thank you. This corner piece is not going to count, because we only want how many unit cubes have exactly one face painted black. So, let's look at this top surface right here. Any of them on the border will have another face, because they dip down onto the other side. So we can't count any of them. The only ones we can actually count are these ones right here. The ones that are not on the edge, okay? It is those kinds of cubes that will always only have one side painted black. So let's figure out how many of those there are going to be. Well, we have 6 faces, kind of like Levi.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. We have a 3 by 4. We have another 3 by 4. We have a 3 by 5. We have another 3 by 5. I guess I shouldn't have to write these multiple times. Whatever, it's too late. Then we have a 4 by 5 and a 4 by 5. You can see all of them on here. The top is a 4 by 5. There's only 6 in the 4 by 5s that are not touching the border. So that's 6. I'm going to use an arrow so you don't think it's subtraction. On the 5 by 3, there are only 3 of them. And then on the 3 by 4, there are only 2 of them. If we add all of these up, we get 12 plus 6 is 18, 19, 20, 22. There are 22 that are only exposing one precious side. 22. Make sure that 4 plus a 10, 16 plus another 6 is 22. 22. Yes. Does that make sense? I wonder how you would figure this out if you had to do it mathematically. Let me think about this. So this top is 4 by 5. So 4 by 5 is equal to 20. The area is 20. Thank you for the help. These tips are going to recommend drawing a figure or visualizing one for the sake of time. Oh, man. I mean, looking at me, I drew a figure. If you can draw quickly, there's your solution. Draw a figure, but do it quickly. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's got to let you grasp what's going on and potentially label it to see if you can figure things out. And then if we want to get rid of all the ones around the border, how many are on the border? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. How would you figure that out? This is super interesting. There's going to be 4 all the time. You're always going to subtract 4 corners, and then you're going to have these edge pieces, which are going to be always 2 less than what the side lengths were. So you're always going to subtract 2 minus 2 minus 4 minus 4. So in total, you're subtracting 12. No. That's 8. In total, you're subtracting 16. I'm not counting this. 4 times 8. Sorry. 16. So why is it 6? By 3, that's why. 3 and 3. Oh, God. That's why. Okay, so that's 8 minus 14. It's 14, so 20 minus 14 gives us the 6. Any other questions? I can generalize this. I think it would be a fun exercise, but I don't think it'd be helpful for you. Have you done Shalom's problems?
How many are there?
2?
I don't know.
I think you sent them a while ago.
Let me
Shalom's, these 2.
yeah, they're the same
Scatter
thing.
plots.
Yeah.
So if we have an n by m face, way to find the number of 1 by 1. I have another cube question I can't figure out. Well, what is it? Tell it to us. Levi and I are sitting here like fish in a barrel. As are cubes even on the SAT? Oh, there was one year where cubes infested the SAT. It was disgusting. They were all over it. They had to cancel the test because there were too many. I mean, a problem like this, I've never seen a problem like this in the SAT. Cubes, yeah, you got to know about cubes, definitely. That's volume, that's geometry. You got to know about like cubes in general. But no, I would not. I don't think you'd ever see a problem like this. What's your other cube question? I am minus 4 minus 2 times m minus 2 minus 2 times m minus 2. And that would give you the number. This type of cube. Ah, yes. No, I've never seen this type of question on the SAT. No, I have not. Interesting. Una. Good name. Like tuna, but with a Y. Finds a box with an open top. Each side is 8 inches long. If she fills this box with identical 2 inch by 2 inch by 2 inch cubes, how many of these cubes will be touching the box? Ugh. R4R 4280. You are my kind of question asker. Let's draw a pic. Draw a sweet pic. A box with an open top, each side is 8 inches long, which means this is a cubic box. It's a cubic box. It's a cubic box, and we can see inside of it because it's got an open top. Okay. Each side is 8 inches long. If she fills the box with identical 2 by 2 by 2 inch cubes, how many of these cubes will be touching the box? Okay, so the ones on the sides. Here's what I would say. If it is 8 by 8 by 8, first thing I'd want to find is just, okay, how many cubes would that be? The volume of this thing is going to be 8 cubed, because it's a cube with side lengths of 8. That's what we call it that. 8 cubed. 8 cubed is 64 times 8. 64 times 8. Levi, give me my phone.
I got 64 times 8
Yep.
is 512.
512 inches cubed. And then 2 by 2 by 2 inch cubes. So we're doing little cubic cubes that are all 8 inches cubed. Wow, you guys are still live? No. We were live before, but this is no longer live. So 8 inches cubed. That is the size the cubes we're putting in here. So if we just wanted to figure out how many of these cubes would go in here, we'd have to take 512 and divide by 8. Now, I know that this is actually not going to get us to our answer, but I just want to show this. Okay, so 512 divided by 8 is going to get us 64.
Can I erase the other cube
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah. That's probably annoying people. Not Koozie, are you still live? Woo! But all we care about are the ones that are touching the box. So let us visualize.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, it was. I can rewrite it. That's fine. And also, no pressure. Only 3 people watching it. Oh my gosh, that is the opposite of no pressure. I feel like I'm in a box right now. There are some people watching. You get it? Because I'm in a box.
I get it.
Very good.
Yeah, they
Very
probably
good.
don't get it because that's.
They're children.
Yeah, that's why.
They're children.
That's why.
They don't know what boxes even are.
Yeah, children.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a box was until I was 22.
Everything you say is so dumb most of the time.
Why do you think that?
Because of what you say. We don't condone violence.
You're
We
angry.
Also did you take off Alt F7 or no?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, thank you.
You're angry.
I'm not.
Are you?
Are you?
Well, I'm angry if you get angry.
That's not true.
No, the only times I've ever gotten angry is when you were angry, even before I. How long are you guys streaming?
We're going to 8:30 or the next 7 minutes.
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna. You're gonna say tomorrow. So these are all 2" by 2" by 2" cubes. Very good. So this is what they would look like if you were able to see through the box. See through the box. Box is your friend. Okay, there would be a total of 16 that would be touching. What happened to Alta Ipsum? Oh, it's not. You don't want to know.
Should we just tell him?
No.
Oh, why
Nothing bad happened. We're just we're probably gonna reunite with them pretty soon.
Wait, why not?
Why? Because it's embarrassing.
No, that's not why.
Oh.
It's not that useful for us to have
A sponsor right now.
advertisements.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alta Ipsum is very useful.
Yeah, Alta Ipsum itself
Yeah.
is great.
Fine.
We should just
Keep advertising
No, Alta
for them?
Ipsum is very good. So now we're doing a thing where we don't get paid, but then we like talk about not getting paid for the sponsorship and then still sponsor them, sort of.
That's a good question.
It's
What
not
if
actually
my test center is a sketchy place on Saturday? In that case, your test center would be a sketchy place on Saturday.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Not all the time. Also, do we recommend studying tomorrow? Yes. I recommend kind of going over your notes, making sure you can do a little bit of calculator stuff, have your programs in order, things like that. Ooh, Patterson, you'll be fine. It's fine. Don't do anything ridiculous. Don't toss your phone around. Patterson's... Where in Patterson? So, studying-wise tomorrow, don't fry your brain the day before the test. If you've been frying your brain until now, take a bit of a break. Do physical things. Get your body involved in your life, not just your brain, and go over some stuff. Don't work really hard. Don't do a full test. That's a terrible idea. Petrified. Good. Do that.
Petrified. That's good.
Pithecus totalis.
Are there 30 people watching? Why aren't there more questions then? Who are these children?
I think it's my dad
There's 30 of your
Who's
dads?
cloned himself.
Ah. A thoroughly nightmarish scenario.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Okay. The bottom of this is going to have 16 cubes that are touching the base of the box. And it's going to include all of these ones here. These are all going to be on the bottom, if you can visualize that. If you were to lift this box up and look on the bottom, you'd be able to see my sleep schedule is dead. It died. The schedule is now dead, non-existent. You don't sleep, huh? You don't say. You gotta sleep, man. That's not good. 16 on the bottom. And then we have this row around the side. So I'm gonna count this layer by layer. There's probably a way to generalize it, but I'm just gonna, okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't want to count this one because I've already counted that cube. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna have 4 cubes on all the corners, and then 2 cubes between all of them. That's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's gonna be 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's gonna be 12 on this. Okay, this is the first layer, the second layer, the third, and then the fourth. So second layer has 12. The third layer will have exactly the same. It's structured just like the second layer. So that will also have 12. And then the top layer is where things get interesting. Actually, it is exactly the same as the rest of them. It's exactly the same as the rest of them. There's another 12. So we add all these up. Is 16 plus 36, which I'm pretty sure is 52. $52 cubes. If you were to look down this thing, down the barrel of this thing, here's what you would see. Or at least here's the cubes that would matter. They would look like this. So you got this. Are these 4x4? Wait. Why is the first layer 16 but the others 12? Because they're touching the bottom of the box. There's no lid. So there's nothing touching the... Here. If you look down the barrel of this thing, each layer except for the bottom has this many cubes touching the sides of the box. You're looking down here. These middle 4 would not be touching the sides of the box until you get to the bottom, because then they have the bottom of the box to touch. So it's the entire... What do we got here? Not Cruz. You just want to say thank you guys for everything y'all do for
read
everyone.
it angrily.
Okay, just wanted to say thank you guys for everything y'all do for everyone. To think that you guys do this 3 times a week for free is insane to me. You guys are good people except Levi. So really, only Brady. But thanks, Brady. That is exactly where I wanted this to go.
Wow.
That is exactly what I liked. Not
Okay.
Kuzi. Thank you very much,
Great.
man. We're pretty insane individuals, and we also think it's insane that we do this in kind of a less positive manner. It's a lot of time. But yes, Ario, you're a lifesaver. Nah, dude. Trust me, man. I'm not a hero. I'm just doing the job. Thank you. Isn't that what, like, firemen say? Can you do another review session tomorrow? Nah.
Nah.
Nah, it's Friday. We're in our mid-20s.
Can you?
Yeah. It is too much to ask. We're not going to do it. We
We-
used to.
We've done them in the past, and we didn't like it.
Yeah, we resent all of you too much
Yeah.
for taking away a Friday
Yeah,
night.
we started lying about the test, and people got mad.
Yeah. A lot of people. Good things. No. Bad things happening to good people. Good things happening to bad people. Both of which, those are bad things to happen to the world.
Yeah,
Yeah. We got a nice thick stream going.
that's not true.
No?
No, it's true.
It's true.
Yeah, it's just all my dad. Dad, hi.
Can you send tonight's review to 9 then?
We have a dinner to go to.
We have a lot of people watching. Then again,
Yeah.
they know that we're doing this, so now they know.
No, I mean, like, okay. If you stop asking us questions about streaming tomorrow and actually ask us questions that we can work on for you, then yes.
Oh, wait a second. They just found out about Reddit. Esfard, was it the post that we made? Or was it like... I also made a couple comments on questions. What was it that you found?
Please don't die, Kuz. Wait, is Kuz the one who's going to Patterson?
I don't know. Are you?
That doesn't make sense. We don't condone violence.
You don't condone violence!
I don't condone violence.
I think it was your post. I mean, okay, so it was the big post that Levi made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That took a lot of skill.
No, I'm going to Patterson. Oh. Esfard's going to Patterson.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Is it with 2 T's or 1?
They changed it in the past minute.
Who? Pattersonages?
No, just they.
Oh,
Yeah.
they did?
Did you Esfard?
Did I S-Fard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of S-beans.
Got it. Very
You
good.
didn't like that one very much.
No, I don't even care. I'm just scared.
Ah.
Okay, well, you know what we do when we're scared?
We repress and dissociate. Remember, any negative feelings that you might have, repress and dissociate. This way, you don't have to feel anything. Now,
Nothing.
happiness is also gone.
Off the table.
Joy, gone.
Forget about it.
Hope, non-existent.
Yes. Oh, we got a question.
Ooh, yeah, there we go.
Oh, this looks kind of fun.
Yeah?
For a tutor.
I'm gonna erase this.
For a tutor. I mean, yeah.
Also, you guys can feel free to ask us questions in the Discord. Just add us in the SAT and ACT Discords. If you're all from Reddit, do you use the SAT, ACT Discords, or are you just Reddit people?
Yeah.
Or have you never used Reddit until this moment because you realized, oh, there's probably a community of nerds online who are studying for the test, and I can get free stuff from them.
Free stuff? No way.
From them.
There's no such thing as free, just Reddit. We gotta post on Reddit more often. 2, K.
Magical
Okay.
unicorn. That's exciting.
Alright, so a line passes through these 2 points, and it also passes through the origin. Which of the following could be the value of k? It doesn't have to be, but it could be. Alright, so there's 3 points here. 0, 0. What do you... I'm not the board.
I've never liked your shoulder.
That one in particular?
Yeah.
I've never liked the way you looked at it. Now I understand why. I started using Reddit last week, and it's pretty helpful. Oh, yeah. It's pretty helpful. So let's think about this for a sec. There's a line that goes to the origin, which is very helpful, because what that means is if the equation of the line in general in slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, if it goes to the origin, forget about b. The y-intercept is 0. Just forget about it. It's got some slope, and that's all we really care about. The slope from the origin to this point, that'll be the slope of the line. The slope from the origin to this point should also be the slope of the line. So those 2 slopes should be set equal to each other. So the slope from here to here, y2 minus y1, we have k minus 0 over x2 minus x1, 2 minus 0. That slope is k over 2. That's the slope of the line. What about over here? We'd have 32 minus 0 over k minus 0. That is also the slope of the line. So these two slopes should be set equal to each other because they're both found in the same line, giving us k over 2. Cross multiply, k squared gives us 64, k square root of 64, which is 8. I'm wondering if negative 8 would also work. It would. They both give us negative 4 in that case. The answers are going to be either 8 or negative 8. You want to pull them up?
Fine.
What do we got?
Answer's 8.
Answer's 8. Yeah, negative 8 is not an option on the answers, although it would work, but 8 is an option. Hey!
Also, on Khan Academy, just do the green bubble, because that one's correct.
Green bubble. Green bubble in disguise.
There we go.
Yeah, why not?
I'm Optimus Prime.
What do we have, 37? We have 37 viewers right now?
Hello, I lost connection to stream.
That's
Oh,
not good.
Thanks, Kuz.
Welcome back to stream.
Hey, okay. You're all watching. We have nothing to advertise except for you to watch and ask more questions.
Yes.
Just ask us your questions. If you don't have a Twitch account, make one. Follow us. You'll just get told whenever we stream live.
What time is it?
We don't try to sell you things, aside from more of this. Also, we do private tutoring, but like you don't have to do that. It's fine.
You have to do that.
Yeah. Wait, Bird. We have to have a unified message.
Sorry. Unified front, like parents. Why would you
How
do
did I
that?
didn't know that would happen.
Now, yes, you
I
did.
didn't know that.
What did you think was gonna happen?
All right, we don't have any more questions, so Brady and I are just gonna fight each other. Would you like to watch us literally tear each other's heads off now, or would you prefer studying for the SAT?
They're pretty interchangeable in my book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cube question again?
The worst.
Yeah, we love those cube questions. Cube questions, SAT questions in disguise, because they're not actually SAT questions.
They're not?
Key change. Cube question, SAT questions.
I'm tired
in
of studying.
disguise.
Yeah.
Magician Unicorn, hold on. If you're pretty tired of studying, actually, if you keep studying, you'll break through that being tired. You'll come out on the other side, you won't be tired anymore. So you just got to keep studying a little bit more.
Don't listen to him. There was a question on the June SAT about median, but it was
It was on the line
on
of
the
best
line
fit.
of best fit.
The question was on the line of best fit,
Got it.
not on the graph as usual. Very interesting. Did you like it?
No, that's actually pretty common. I've seen that many times, where they ask a question about the line of best fit, not the scatter plot pieces. So I disagree with you.
Well,
very disrespectfully.
here's what it
It's
probably-
very personal.
Okay, here's what it was. There was a line of best fit through a scatter plot, and if you just, I'm talking about right now, if you just look at the points that they used on the scatter plot and the data values of those points, you can find the median that way. So like, there's an X and Y value. They're two different kinds of data. You're gonna actually squeeze it?
Not right in your ear. I don't
I
know.
prefer that you didn't. There you go. Yeah. So you have to actually write out what all those X values were, and then look at the median of those. If
Don't
that's the
condone
very
violence.
good. No, you
That
don't.
was disappointing. Violence. Wow, this is so anticlimactic.
Yeah, he's opened. Is that a little brain with eyeballs? That's kind of
I
fun.
think it's a person.
Pepe laugh. You know, it's not working. You guys, what are they not writing?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It might just be restreamed the way it does it. It was cars sold in 2010 versus cars sold in 2014.
Here in my car.
And then it
I
asks
feel
you to
safe
differentiate
as a
between
ball.
23,000 and 23,500.
It's 500. That's the answer.
Yeah.
You can
It's always
knock on
500.
my doors. It's the only way to live. And here's what I'm saying, man. Here's what I'm saying.
A cube with a side length of 5 inches is painted black. Didn't we just do this one?
No, it's not. It's not.
Do you have a very niche job? R4?
Yeah, are you doing like math homework on cubes?
Cubes.
So like,
Hey, Kuz, you're back. We gotta go. Sorry.
the median would be like, okay, so like, let's say this was 3, that's 8,
I want to
that's
do
10,
it.
that's
You're
14.
doing that. Okay.
You've got two data values that have 3, so you've got 3, you've got 3, you've got an 8, you've got a 10, and you have two 14s. So you have to look at those points, not the line of best fit. The line of best fit is not going to help you. And then you say, it's going to be 9. My book has cube questions, although I'm not good at them. It's an SAT book? Okay, yeah, that was a really quick answer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, again, I've never seen questions like this on the SAT. Where did you get... Oh, is that a command? Not Kuzi? What about the please? We want to wish you luck, but we don't want to do it if we feel like we have to. College Panda. You know college pandas are actually endangered?
Yeah?
Yep.
Why do you think that is? Because the SAT is just shooting them?
Probably.
Or they just don't reproduce?
Well, I think it's a mixture of both.
I think college pandas, since there's only one of them, literally can't reproduce.
Yeah, it's crazy. They don't actually asexually reproduce anymore.
Yeah.
They used to just reproduce by budding.
What's the please for?
There it goes. Not Kuzi said wish us luck Saturday. I
You
pitched a
don't
fit.
need it.
Please wish us luck
but-
Saturday. You've been wished luck.
We've been
by us.
Yeah, we have been wishing luck
Yeah.
onto you. Is College Panda good? I've heard people saying it helps with math.
No comment. We don't know.
We don't know. Do you know?
Yeah, if it's good, you should just tell us.
You should just tell each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could tell you, but we just don't know.
We just don't know. If you think we know, you're very wrong.
Yeah. We know that we don't know, which is a good start. Okay, so, hey, if you have a 5 by 5 by 5 cube and then you're painting the outside black and then you're cutting it into, I assume, yeah, you're cutting them into 5 by 5 by 5s of 1 by 1 by 1 cubes, you're going to be cutting off the top layer, or the face layer of everything, which means that you're going to have this inner cube of, there's no way I can draw that in a useful way. It's going to be 3 by 3 by 3. So then it's 3 cubed, which is 27. The answer is 27.
Oh man, that'd be so cool to draw though. Feel like I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. Eli, I can see it. I don't think you understand. It's all there. It's not great.
You covered up the blue line. Wait, here, I'll just go over the blue.
Yeah, that's true. That's going to make it look easier. It's suspended inside. Any predictions on how the test curve might be on Saturday? Yes.
Yes, it's similar to College Panda.
There's a 50% chance that the test curve will be on Saturday. And yes.
In a science classroom, when is 8:40?
It's 8:40.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta go.
I thought you were 8:40.
I thought you were 8:40.
I'm not.
This
I
will be
thought you
how about
8:40.
this be the last question.
In a science classroom, when labs are performed,
Students are seated at lab tables.
if the science teacher assigns students to each table,
4 additional lab tables will be needed.
if the teacher assigns 4 students to each table,
4 lab tables will not be used.
how many students are in the class?
Oh.
Notice the first 3 sentences were all if-then statements. It would be dependent clause, comma, independent clause.
Now, Kuzi, you're not going to choke on the trust. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Teacher assigns students to each table. 4 additional lab tables will be needed. The teacher assigns 4 students to a table. 4 lab tables will not be used.
Okay.
How many students are in the class?
I'm going to get rid of it. So let's just do T equals number of tables.
You getting this one?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not sure I understand, so you should.
So T is the number of tables. Where's this question from? Oh, it's from chat. Okay, great. T is the number of tables, and the teacher, and there's S, the number of students, right? So S equals number of students. So we're going to translate from English into math. This is a very difficult problem because it's confusing. So let's take the first scenario. We have 2 scenarios that are given. We have 2 variables we don't know. That sounds like, to me, a system of equations. So we have our 2 variables. Great. Now, we are told that if the teacher assigns students to each table, 4 additional tables will be needed. If the teacher assigns 4 students... Wait. I think you're missing a number, Esfard. In your second sentence in chat, you have, if the teacher assigns students to each table. I assume there needs to be a number there, because the second sentence, which I will translate into an equation, is 4 additional lab tables will be needed for that. Okay, sorry. Then the next one is, if the teacher assigns 4 students to... Okay, 2 students. Okay, great. There we go. That's why Brady was confused. That makes sense. So, 2 students per table, which means that there are going to... for every table, you need to double it. We're going to be comparing the number of students and the number of tables. Okay? So we have a certain number of students and we have a certain number of tables. I'm going to double the number of tables because we're trying to get to if there's one table, you would need 2 students for that table, right? So 2 times 1 would equal 2. That would make sense. But that's not the situation. This first situation is 2 students for each table. 4 additional lab tables will be needed. So this is T, the number of tables we actually have. Okay? If we're so we have 2 students per table, but we'll need 4 tables in addition to the number of tables we have. So it would be T plus 4. Does that idea make sense? That's not where I thought this one was going, to be honest. If we have 2 students per table, we need 4 more tables than we currently have. Then the next one is if the teacher assigns 4 students to each table, so that would be 4 times T, sort of, and that'll equal S, then 4 tables will not be used, which would mean T minus 4. Does that system of equations building that I just did make sense to you? Now we would just solve this system, which I don't think we need to do necessarily, but you can do it very easily. This is a hard question. This is very difficult. You are trying to build equations. When you realize that you don't know a variable, you can build an equation, and then from there, now we don't have to worry about the context of the problem so much. We just need to remember that we're solving for S. So just do that however you want. Building this is challenging. I would recommend, if there's always that question of, okay, should we add 4 to this or multiply this by 2 or something like that? Now just come up with values, okay? Not necessarily with, come up with values and plug them in, values that you understand. Like if we say that x is 10 more than y, people a lot of the time do x plus 10 because x is 10 more than y, but that doesn't make sense. No. It should be x is, which is an equal sign, 10 plus y, because that would be 10 more than y. And the way you can check that is, well, I know conceptually that if x is 10 more than y and y is 1, then x has to be 11. That doesn't make sense for this equation. It would only make sense for this one.
It'd be fun. We've never turned the lights off and then turn it back on to see what things look like. Should we do it?
Yes. Where can I find more practice on this? On building equations? Oh, thanks, Brady. That was good.
Hey!
There we are. What is the unit called?
32.
32. What does that mean? More practice on this.
We should call it a night. The reservation is for like now.
Oh gosh. Okay.
We're gonna go be in our mid-20s.
Yeah, we were before, but now we're also going to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey. Yeah, keep watching us. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 6 to 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's standard, so you know it's good.
As far as I made a worksheet recently on building systems of equations. I can send that to you. Can you send me a DM on Discord? Not on Twitch, because I don't know what I'm doing with that. Just send me a DM on Discord. Or you can follow the link to our, private tutoring and send us a message through there. I just prefer Discord. That'd be easier.
Magical Unicorn, get plenty of sleep tonight. Eat breakfast tomorrow. Make sure you wake up with plenty of time to do your waking up ritual, whether it's taking a shower or, I don't know, whatever. Listen to music on the way there. Music that you like. Music that pumps you up or calms you down. I don't know. Take deep breaths throughout the test. You're not going to get a perfect score. Don't worry. That should not be your goal. You're going to get questions wrong. That's going to happen. Be okay with that. Don't let it destroy your confidence. Discord. What is Discord?
I think we have a link down below in the panels on Twitch.
We totally do.
Click that
And
link.
Between sections, when they give you breaks, get up, walk around. Not even if you have to go to the bathroom, just walk around. Have some snacks. Take it easy on yourself. You're going to be fine. This does not determine who you are as a person. Don't worry, and you can always get better.
Unless you're a tutor, then it kind of does.
A little bit does. Yeah.
Also, the anxiety will not go away. You are dealing with the anxiety. I like the way you said that. You're not ignoring it. You're not pretending that it doesn't there. Don't repress and dissociate. That's unhealthy. The anxiety will be there. Accept it. It's going to stink. If you need those deep breaths, as Brady mentioned, do that. Food helps. Physical things help. Anxiety is a body chemistry thing, so be physical. If you are, especially if you're athletes or you like being physical, hopefully you do, do physical things, because your brain does not like sitting taking a test that makes it anxious and is difficult. It doesn't like that for 3-4 hours. So get up, get out of the room. Definitely get out of the room as often as possible when you're taking the test.
How's that?
run, jump, things like that.
Dodge.
Also,
duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Yeah. So we stream all the time. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for an hour and a half. Tonight we went an extra hour and 15 minutes because the test
For
is coming
you!
up. For you.
Not for each other. We
No,
did it for you.
We spend so much time together that we don't need to spend any more. But we're going to be spending more come September. Oh my goodness.
He got a job also where I'm working, so don't
Yeah.
worry. There's going to be more time spent between him and I.
Yes.
We got to go.
Him and me. Me as an
No,
object.
I was trying to say Gemini. Him and I.
That's not what you meant. Good try. So just as a reminder, that stuff. Have fun on the test next time. We are nerdy.